Apparently I have... Oh, that's right, because I never... Oh, well, we'll take it from there. Hello!
Hello.
Sorry
Oh,
for the
there we
delay.
go.
Who knew beef stew took 3.5 hours?
Did the recipe not say so?
I mean, recipes?
You just throw stuff in a pot and let it settle there for a bit.
Yeah, recipes said about 2 hours, but there's about an hour prep with cutting up veggies and stuff that we did not account for, so...
Hmm.
It's all good.
So apparently I scared my Friday session friends.
Why? What'd you do?
I told them that I was streaming the session.
Oh, no. Did they not like that?
They were a little cautious, but after telling them that I don't get any views much, so I was just like, there's not really an issue, and no one sees your face. They only hear your voice, so... They ended up just being fine with it, and Zach was just all like, well, now I have to double down with Roll20 and make it look better, and I was just like, that's up to you.
Meh. Meh. Play the game however you want.
Yep.
It did help me at least find this like the website with all these soundtracks, because that was really cool. I just wish that Roll20 hadn't gone and deleted them all. That's really unfortunate. But all right, I know Gina's just getting everything kind of put away with the stew, so go ahead. Yep. Get started. So, last time we picked up right after the climactic battle with Ascalon and Ken coming back to himself. You guys discussed things outside on the terrace for a few minutes while providing some much needed first aid to Rose before heading into Namir's mansion to rest for the evening, as you found yourselves kind of like stuck on an island. The door going into the keep itself like sealed and locked shut, not even so Ken could open it. You guys rested and awoke the next day to find that the keep itself had kind of changed the entire mountain. The whole mountain itself, the top having been like almost cleanly sheared off in this plateau that stretches for probably about 1,000 feet off to the, well, I guess it's to the west, depending on where it is. And I'm actually going to go ahead and switch us over to the one that I have prepared to use in the future, which is just all of the island of Starfall. And this is where we spent most of last game, was you guys exploring the Platinum Enclave and the island of Starfall. That, of course, happening after your short discussion and...
Oh, you sectioned them off. We have a basement?
You do. You do. There is a door kind of behind the red stairs up here that leads down into a very large underground space that could be carved out more because, it's just underground. But you had a brief conversation with the Admiral from Baldur's Gate who questioned what, just in general, was going on with this island that had just appeared off of their coast, had crashed into the waters off of their city. You all explored the island before sending a message to that same admiral requesting that he come and pick you up, since you didn't really have an easy way to get to the city from where you were. Your keep being kind of placed at the edge of this very steep cliff, the sea a solid 600 or 700 feet below you, and these like almost sheer cliffs going up to where you are. It's very defensible, but it's also really hard to get down from. So as his ship approached, those of you who could fly took to the air and landed on his ship, and one of you who could fly picked up the other two and
Dropped us.
fastball specialed two of them. Wasn't even just a drop, because of course it had to be more than just a drop, as Rose loop-de-looped through the air to gain additional speed, momentum, before hurtling towards the ship and releasing both of you at that apex of speed. Nobody managing to successfully succeed on his dexterity saving throw and direct himself away from the ship, even though Rose had technically hit the ship, and Aerith being thrown into the water as Rose had missed with Aerith. You guys... You guys convened on the deck and were brought into the city proper. And coming into Baldur's Gate, switch over to that one, you were confronted with a very, very large city. The several sections that you have walked through, Sea Tower, Bloomridge, Manorborn, and the Temple District, pretty much equate the size of Eriabor. So this city, as you approached into the docks and kind of saw everything stretch out to the east and beyond this massive hill off the river, the size of this city is just impressive. You moved through and... Okay. Alright. You moved through the Temple District in an effort to get Ken some much needed greater restorations. Yeah, you found a temple dedicated to Helm. I can never remember his name. And spoke with the priests and high artificer there before making donations and getting Ken healed. And while the three of you, Eodos, Aerith, and Ken, went into the temple to help Ken, get restored, talk to the priest, Rose and nobody stayed outside to keep an eye on the streets. And as you guys have walked through this city, it's a lot busier than Eriabor. Eriabor can be busy. There are moments during the day where the streets can kind of be a little bit packed and you can blend into it, but there are no moments here where that's not the case. As you walk through, it's just this throng of people moving about, and the buildings stretch 4-5 stories tall for the most part. They're large, like apartment style housing, townhouses making up the more affluent districts. The Temple District itself is very, very lavish. There's a lot of money here, especially around these large temples. Built monuments to the gods here in this massive capital-esque city on the coast. So, Rose and nobody, as you look out and the throng of people moving before you, going about their daily business of paying alms to their various gods and delivering messages, what would you like to do?
I guess I don't know what nobody's doing because we kind of decided for him last game, but Rose is just kind of sitting at the bottom of the steps going into the temple that the rest of the party went into, and they're kind of just like sort of people watching, but I don't know. They're just kind of like watching people and sitting for the moment.
I believe I was told there was a plan of robbing people.
Well, yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. I wanted to give you a moment if you wanted to do or say.
I mean, I have nothing planned. Nobody's just the intern.
You're just here with me.
Just here admiring the city.
And then they'll. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna start with the plan then, but if you were gonna describe something, I want to hear it.
No, it would just be his take on it. you've nobody experienced some levels of society since your memory has come back. Pretty much just like in this varying degree of like this first place was this tiny town where you lived in a small like farmhouse on the outskirts of the town where you were taken care of, and then you moved into Iriabor, and that was a pretty big step up, and that was where you found these guys, and now you're here. You're just finding yourself like almost overwhelmed by the sheer number of people around you. Like you're very perceptive and keeping your eye on everybody. You're just sort of like you're not anxious about it, but it's a lot to keep track of.
Well, I'm bored. Do you
Hi, bored. I'm
want to do
nobody.
something fun?
Sure. What did you have in mind for fun?
All right, and they'll kind of just like push themselves up to their feet and stretch. Just like, what do you see when you look around this area?
People. Lots of people.
Yeah. Specifically, who do you see?
Do I need to roll perception for that?
You see, not necessarily, because looking out on the sea of people, there are two distinct types of people here. There are the people that obviously belong and are doing business within the churches. They're dressed well. They kind of hold themselves with this like higher posture. And then there are like the servants moving around delivering messages. They're not necessarily like wearing bad clothes. They don't look like they're beaten or treated badly, but there's this distinction between the two types of classes that are working within this district. One to keep it running, and one to kind of bask in the glory of what's going on around you.
All right. Well, I see a bunch of some rich folk. I see a lot of working folk. Some clergymen. We're in the church
Mhm.
district.
Do you know who you don't see?
Homeless people?
That's actually pretty much. But more than that, the ones you don't see.
Dragons.
Wow.
I
Well,
mean, you don't know that.
hopefully. I would hope not. But no. I mean the orphans. The kids who run around.
Make a perception check, nobody.
I am good at those. Or do you want my passive 25 perception?
I can use your passive if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Either one's fine. It really doesn't matter. Both of them are just ridiculous, anyways.
You hear Rose, and you kind of like look back, and you see this tiny little like waif of a person move between two crowds, just in almost a blur, and then they're just gone.
You said short, right?
Yeah, it looked like a child.
Child.
Honestly, looks like maybe 7 or 8.
And you said they were skirting around, right?
Yeah, they're like what you saw. You looked out over this crowd and you saw these people moving about, and you just see this like little bit of movement off to one side, and this tiny little, couldn't even tell if it was a little boy or a little girl. They just had this like mat of scraggly hair dart out from like the skirts of one side of the crowd and into another crowd, and the crowd didn't even see them. They just moved, and everything just kept moving, almost like a school of fish, and he was just one wild fish just moving through it. Or they.
Can I assume he's pickpocketing, or I wouldn't know that?
Roll an insight?
I'm also somewhat decent at those.
Yeah. 22. You didn't see any bags, but it's definitely possible. Like, he wasn't carrying a pouch in his hands, but moving that quickly and that kind of evasively, it might be up to no good, might not.
But that's the only kid I saw.
Was the only one you could see. Yeah, you kind of looked out, and that was the first one that caught your eye. And then you looked around, and you don't see any others. It's just this sea of like people moving and crowds kind of gathering and dispersing as they discuss things before you, like at the foots of the steps and off into the streets. Which outside of this temple itself are very wide. It's kind of like at the center of this temple district, and you've got probably 30 to 40 foot roads wide here surrounding it before it branches off into smaller like side streets where the less important temples have put up shop.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, yeah, I only see one kid. So,
Yeah. You don't see them because it's how you survive. Not being seen is the best way to get around in this area.
are you suggesting something?
I mean, I am. But just thinking. I do want to help though. You like helping people, right, nobody?
That is my job, I think.
I think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what you guys hired me to do.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
I've been hired to help, so I help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hear me out. You're stealthy. At least if you want to be.
Yes. I would say it can be stealthy.
What do you say we help some people? Let's see. And they'll look around and try to find whoever's like the best well dressed in the area.
Make me a
Oh, are
perception
you
check.
Robin Hooding this shit?
Just
Mm.
perception.
Well, if the kid tries to rob me, he won't find much.
Neat. Not great.
Yeah, you kind of look out. Nobody, go ahead and make me one as well. As you're also kind of like peering out. Teen, man,
A
guys.
4. I rolled a
know.
4.
I know.
You did great.
Um,
And the last time I rolled a 3.
Mhm.
oh,
Doesn't even have to be like the wealthiest person. It can just be somebody who looks like they have money.
you do. I mean, there is obviously people here moving through with money. You don't see any easy targets with like money pouches or the like, but you do see a. Let's see, what would it be? It'd be probably a more rotund looking gentleman kind of moving through the crowd, and as he's moving through, the crowd does part a little bit. You do see somebody walking through with authority and that kind of air of wealth and power. 2 or 3 servants kind of moving around and about to assist and lead, but with those You
What
could
do your
follow?
changeling and human eyes see?
Yeah,
Not
Or-
much, apparently.
yeah. That was
Alright, well, Rose will just I'm gonna go into my bag and I'm sure I have just like a random innocuous like cloak. Just like a riding cloak or anything, just
I got a straw hat you can borrow.
I mean, you're going to the bag of holding. I think the bag of holding has something.
yeah. I assume it's just got like regular clothes because we all started with like regular clothes as well.
Common clothes.
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just pull out just a simple like brown black cloak and kind of just throw it over their shoulders. And then you'll see them lean forward a little bit and run both hands like over their face. And when their hands go by, they have just like an innocuous, just plain commoner face now. Just like short brown hair and just unassuming.
Who are you? Where did Rose go?
Who knows? They'll give you a wink and just, all right, come on.
Okay, I shall follow.
So
I don't think you've told them that
keep
you
an
plan
eye-
on pickpocketing yet.
not yet. Well, but they'll walk and just talk to you quietly as we walk. Just all right. Walk as we walk. Just keep an eye out. I know you're good at looking, you're good at stealthing. Keep an eye out for anyone who, how do I say, look like they're not paying a whole lot of attention, like they've got stuff that might just go missing.
Okay.
If they have a coin pouch, if they have a bag.
So look for rich people who are not paying attention.
Exactly. Maybe somebody who's like looking around, taking in the scenery.
Tourists.
And yeah.
Okay.
I guess
Okay.
I don't know how you do it, but easiest way I've found is run into them. Or at least like just a little bit, not straight on, but enough that you're making
You want me to run into rich people?
just look,
You
you know
need
how to
multiple
pickpocket,
points
right?
of contact. You know?
Oh, you want me to pickpocket? Okay.
Yes. Like run into
Uh,
them, make it so that they don't feel it if perhaps suddenly their bag were to disappear.
I thought we were
I
supposed
have
to
a
be the
little
good
bit.
guys.
Well,
We're
no,
the
see,
good
we
guys, right?
are.
We are?
Because you know who we're gonna give it to?
Ourselves.
Ourselves? Have I got paid yet?
Technically, you lost money.
That is true.
Well, you got like 10 gold.
Oh yeah, I got 9. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I did get like 10 gold
Yes.
from someone.
And then you gave one to the horde.
Yep.
Look,
So
if
I
you
am
wanna
9 gold richer.
If you want to keep a cut, sure. But just find something, anything,
Okay.
and then meet up, okay?
Wait, what
And
are
we'll
you
find
doing?
somebody to give it to.
What are you doing?
Same thing you're doing. Mine's
Different.
easier though, because
So we're doing different people.
yes,
Sounds
unless
kinky
you want to
now.
work together.
And what if I get in trouble?
Don't get in trouble.
Brilliant. All right.
Oh boy.
This slapdash operation you guys are running.
Okay, so as you guys have this conversation, you push out into the throng of people and begin moving through. You separate to find different marks.
Rose will tell nobody. Just like find someone to pickpocket, get something. Try not to get caught. If you don't get caught, meet back at the temple that the rest of the party went in. If
Oh,
you do
boy.
get caught, maybe make yourself sparse for a little bit and then come back.
Lovely.
Just don't let them
This
see your
is
face.
amazing. This is everything I could have hoped for.
One of us
'Cause
is
if they
gonna
see
go
my
to
face-
jail. Let's
Hey.
go.
No, it'll be fine. But just
mean,
don't let them see your face.
got it.
'Cause, you know, I'm used to it. If they see my face, I can just change it. Easy. You, I
Plus, we're
suppose,
already
a little
planning
less
to go to
so.
jail, you know? Like, we're gonna break people out, so what if you get arrested? It's not that big a
Hey,
deal.
maybe we'll get thrown in the same jail as the Avengers.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I know you guys.
There's two birds,
Definitely
one
not.
stone.
the plan.
Is that
Easy.
kid still robbing people? Maybe rather than robbing myself, I just help the kid by distracting nobles he's trying to rob.
roll me a perception check. See if you can see him. You take a look around. Okay,
Now
it's
I roll
there.
decent.
Right.
You
Just
do
laser
not
focused on this one kid.
see him, but you
I'll
do
help any kid.
see what looks like another one kind of dart. Not it does. It's not even like an alleyway. It looks like they kind of jumped over like a crate off to one side, and then you just go, "Phoom," and they're just gone, just out of the corner of your eye, in the most.
It's just
But you look around, you don't see the one that you spotted earlier. Just this other, like, little bit of a blur moving through the crowds and then jumping.
Alright.
It's kind of in an alleyway. It's hard to describe it. It's just sort of like they went over what looked like a crate from where you're at, and it's all. 34 means you see the very most like craziest of details from your eagle eye perspective. But yeah.
yeah. I'll just if I see any like kid that's trying to rob people, I'll try and help them rather than rob myself.
Okay. All right.
So like if a noble catches one, I'll just trip the noble if he chases after the kid, and so on and so
Okay.
forth.
Oh my god.
So
Give the
as
kids
you
some
separate,
assistance.
that is yours. Give me a. Ooh, let's see. What do I want to do for that then? Give me a charisma check from nobody at advantage, as you step out into the throng to aid the poor waifs in there.
And I do persuasion because I have elegant courteser.
Yes, I am totally cool with that.
And you said with advantage?
With a
Courtier.
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 Yeah, that was probably. Yeah.
Okay. Right, 20.
Okay.
Not bad.
That way, if I trip, I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Here, let me help you up."
All right. Okay.
Let me
And
pat
Rose,
you
what
down.
are you doing as you give nobody his instructions to hopefully not make a scene if he does be sparse? What are you doing?
Rose is gonna try their best to find somebody who looks a little easier of a mark because I'm not super good with sleight of hand.
Okay.
But just find somebody and they are going to make a scene. They'll like run straight into somebody and make a big deal out of it.
Okay. Are you wearing any particular face, or is it just a generic brown hair,
It's
average
just,
everyday person?
yeah, just some commoner that we've seen along the road.
Okay. Give me a perception check as you pull up your hood and move out towards the crowds, begin looking around for your possible mark. 19. Okay.
Better.
You've done this before, and as you move into the crowds, you kind of find yourself falling into that same rhythm. You're taller now, but you're also stronger, faster. And you just sort of drift into the flow until you find your target. A young man, probably younger than you are, but wearing a very, very, very fancy, like, petticoat that's just perfectly shaped to him. And he has this just perfect bag at his waist, asking to be relieved. It looks, from where you're at, you look at it and you can see that there are definitely coins in there.
Alright. So they'll like head down, like pretending like they're not really watching where they're going and like in a little bit of a hurry, and they'll beeline straight into the guy.
Okay.
And like just crash into him and just, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh no. And like look up and let him see my face
Okay.
and
Give
try
me
to take the bag.
give me a sleight of hand as you take the bag and a deception check.
Alright, sleight of hand and deception. And they'll just like start apologizing profusely, just like trying to keep his attention for a couple moments.
All right. Let's see. you slam into him, and I mean, he's not moving with, like, he's not moving quickly. He's just sort of strolling. He has this kind of, like, just almost absent look on his mind, just looking up towards the skyline as you're just barreling down. Doesn't see you coming, and wham, you collide. You bounce back into each other, or off each other. You stand up and pull your hood back and show him your face and reach out. And as you're picking him up, you kind of like move your hand down and you unfasten the bag just ever so slightly. He doesn't seem to notice. You move it around your back.
Grab him like by both arms and pull him, just like patting him down. Just, I'm so sorry. Are you all right? Did I hurt you?
No, yeah. I seem to be okay. He kind of like just pats himself
So
down on
sorry.
his chest. He looks at you and goes, "Are you all right? Are you hurt?"
No. All right. Just maybe a little scrape. But no, it was entirely my fault. I'm so sorry. I wasn't looking where I was going at all.
He looks himself over and he looks down onto his back. He goes, "Oh." He pulls, and his very nice petticoat has been ripped on the back, and he just sort of like takes a deep breath. And he goes, it's fine. I know these things happen. Please, I just need to go get this mended. Please, just." And he
Yes.
pushes himself away
Oh.
from you and shakes his head and like
Right.
storms off from the way he came.
And then as soon as they turn their back, they'll change their face again
Okay.
and take the cloak off.
All right. Nobody. As you move through the throngs of people, your extremely high perception, able to pick out these small waifs, you see another one moving through the crowd. And he's moving with a definite target in mind. As you kind of track the direction he's going in, you can see the same nobleman kind of pushing through the crowd with this small little bubble around him. Of people like just getting out of the way, and as you're kind of like tracking it, you see the little kid kind of move through the crowds and start heading towards him. What are you doing?
Kyle,
Nobody. Nobody.
did he fall asleep?
Hello?
Ah, no.
There it is. There it
Oh,
is.
Yeah.
No, his Discord fell
Yeah.
asleep.
It was actually, I forgot that I had my headset mic up.
I've done that before many times.
Me too.
But, so I can see the target he's going for, right?
Yeah, it's the same like rotund nobleman that you saw earlier with the several servants that are kind of pushing people away and like, getting like, get out of the way, make way. And this kid's kind of moving through the crowd and darting between them, moving towards him.
Alright, I'll move closer to the target as well, and if the kid looks like he might get spotted or get trouble, I'll just bump into some servants or into the guy and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and just try and play it off and like distract them while the kid can do his thing.
Roll one for him. Ooh, that's okay. All right. You fall into the same kind of rhythm, moving through the sea of people. Like there are distinct streams of flow on the roads, moving in just like different ways, and moving against it definitely doesn't work easily. So you fall into it and just start following with this, moving through people, just moving through, watching the kid ever so slightly out of the corner of your eye. He doesn't even seem to notice you. He's not looking at you at all. And as you keep watching him, he gets up to that periphery, and as he starts to dart out towards the nobleman, you're like on the opposite side of this small bubble that he's creating. You see the nobleman starts turning around, and just as he does, the servant at the very front who's kind of creating this, the nobleman's turning towards where the kid is, and as the servant is at the front parting the crowd, you just ever so slightly put your foot out. Oomph. Servant goes crashing down into the crowd, draws the attention. You see the kid dart in, swipe this very, very small little pouch off the back of him, and then just off into the crowds as the the other two servants are now watching as this one in the front is being pretty much just stomped over by people. They
Oh,
run up
no.
and start helping him. You fall back into this crowd in a way. There's chaos. You hear like the scolding from the nobleman as the two of you just drift off. Do you try to keep your eye on the kid as he drifts off into?
If he, I don't know if he notices me, but if he does, I'll just give him a wink and then move on to another kid to help.
Okay. Make me a perception check. Let me make one for him too for that. All right.
Another 3.
Another 3. You take a look around. You don't see him at the moment, but nobody's making a fuss. Nobody seems to be calling the guard, so you just smile to yourself and hope that he makes it out. In the meantime, the rest of you have rejuvenated Ken. The greater restorations paid for through generous donations of diamonds to the Church of Helm, and have now stepped out onto the temple stairs and are looking over the same like throng of people. You see nobles and servants moving through the seas of people, couriers moving about, but what you do not see are your two allies who you had left here mere 30 minutes ago. What are the rest of you doing?
Where are Rose and Nanashi?
I have no idea, but what I am going to do, I like to use my all-purpose tool, and for my free cantrip for today, I'm going to pick message and start scanning for Nanashi and Rose.
Okay. You flip your all-purpose tool around into it's almost like a small microphone at this point. It still has that general shape of a screwdriver almost. In my mind, the all-purpose tools are just sonic screwdrivers from Doctor Who. So at the end, it just sort of like opens up a bit, and there's just what looks like this tiny little fabric there that just reverberates as you speak into it, and you turn and you Rose. Nobody? Rose? You spend a minute or two just casting it in various directions out into the crowd. They're not within 100 feet. 120 feet.
Maybe they're out of range.
Fuck. I guess.
Well,
guess
that means we got time before we go to the meeting, huh?
Yeah, I guess
Oh
so.
boy.
Hopefully Rose isn't getting into any shenanigans.
If they
Rose?
are, would we be able to know what they look like?
I guess not. Alright. Stick together. I'll start scanning for them. And then I'll walk out and, like, with my tool in hand, I'm gonna still scan for them.
Roll me investigation with advantage since you're using your all-purpose tool and
We believe in
incorporating
you,
your
Ken.
message cantrip. Yeah.
Except perception?
Investigation.
Oh, investigation.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. So, Rose and Nobody, are you going to Rose with your recent target made slightly lighter by the coin purse that you have taken from him? What are you doing next? Are you finding another target, or are you going back to the temple?
I guess
Or do you have another
as I walk, can I get like a rough estimate of how much is in here?
Sure. Roll me intelligence. Okay, not
I'm good at
bad.
counting money.
Yeah,
Apparently.
apparently. You open it up and it looks like a solid mix of platinum and gold, and judging it based off of the weight and what you're looking at, you're estimating probably about 500 gold worth in here.
Okay. Before I head back, can I do I know like the people that the temples employ like the kids? Do they hang out in the temples or like around the temples?
And so
Or
there are the
just kind of
ones
like
that
out?
work with the temples, and you've seen those. Those tend to be like the ones actually out in the streets asking for,
Hmm.
alms and donations. Those tend to live in the temples themselves. But you also know that they're the orphans, the ones that don't live in the temples that have left, and they tend to find nooks and crannies that other people have forgotten about. And what Rose would know from living in cities and growing up in similar situations would be that those places tend to change as they get found out. They'll find new places, but there are always holes in the wall to hide in for the forgotten.
Yeah. They'll because they're so like mercurial, they're gonna go to the temples and try to find like the ones who are asking.
Okay. All right. So you do head back towards the Temple of Helm, like the central part of where the temple district is, or are you going towards like a different one just to move in a different direction? Which direction would you move in?
Probably a different one than the one that the party's in.
Nobody. What are you doing after assisting the youngster in his job of the day?
How much time has passed?
Probably about half an hour, 45 minutes since leaving the stairs.
I'll probably help one more kid and then head back then.
Okay, roll me another perception check.
Perception.
Perception.
Why do I keep getting threes on perception?
I know, and it's just they're so shifty.
That makes what? That's like the third three I got on perception.
Dude,
They're hard to find.
we had almost 4 ones in a row yesterday in that Pokemon. And I say almost 4 because we did have 4, but one of them was because of a forced disadvantage. But it was 4 ones in a row.
Yep.
So
It was rough.
just glad you don't have that kind of luck, you know.
Fair enough. I will take my plus 15 modifier.
You do not see any youngsters, but what you do see, or hear rather, is the shouts of alarm as another not necessarily a nobleman. This one looks more like a merchant. He's kind of wearing just just nice cloth and leathers, and you just hear the shouts of alarm of, "Hey, thief! Stop him! Somebody stop him! Thief!" You look around and you can see the crowd kind of parting off to the left in the direction that he's pointing, and another youngster carrying a bundle of something in his arms is just darting through, just moving as though the street itself is a part of him.
Does he look like he'll be able to get out just fine, or?
Roll me a insight check. Take a look around. Look around, see if any guards.
I have a plus 10 in this!
I know, I'm trying, man. You don't see any guards reacting, and the people seem to be just getting out of his way as he's darting through, and then just kind of recoalescing into this
I'm
generic
restarting roll
mob.
20. This is bullshit.
But it looks like he'll get away.
Alright. I might move a little bit closer, just in case, but
All right.
I will just make sure he gets out. Alright.
You follow at a distance, trying to keep your eye on this parting of the crowds, and you watch moving through. You lose track of it for one moment, and as you kind of had to jump up onto it's kind of like a trash can. Really, it's just like a receptacle off to one side for refuse and garbage. But you jump up to get this extra view, and you look around, and you see this tiny little part in the crowds, and then it just sort of vanishes as you lose track of him. But nobody was shouting anymore, and as you followed at your distance, you saw the shopkeep. He kind of like stepped out of his booth and started shouting at people, and people just sort of looked at him like, what do you want me to do, man? There are no guards around. You don't see any guards reacting, so.
All right.
Seems like he.
I'm gonna
seems like
assume
he was
he got
good.
up. All right. I'll
Alright.
start walking back then to the temple.
Okay. The rest of you, as you are led into the throng of people by Ken, you wander for about 15-20 minutes. He leads you down a few different streets through the groups, constantly, with his all-purpose tool calling out to your two lost allies. And eventually, Ken, you do get a connection. You finally reach out to nobody, and you feel the magic connect, and you can send your message to nobody.
Hey, nobody. I was looking for you. If Rose is with you, you guys need to meet us back at the temple. Or actually, let me look around. Let me find some significant landmark for you guys to meet us at. Okay?
Okay. You take a look around. You're like in a small off street. There's a main road off to your left. You are casting the spell facing to your right, so it looks like he's down because you know the direction he's in. You're basically like you have to cast message and then speak and then point in a direction. And if it does work, then you're like, aha, he's that way, and I finally got him. But he's also within 120 feet. So you look around, then you're pretty sure that you could probably find him or just move towards him with that information.
Okay, I'll move towards him.
You lead everybody down the alley towards nobody as he's moving through this small like river of people that are kind of moving down this side street. You meet up off to one side and are still one rose short, but have reunited with nobody.
So, what you been up to?
Helping people.
How exactly?
In an
Well,
alley?
I mean, Rose says we're helping people. I think we're helping people. I know I help people.
Helping how?
I mean, Rose wanted to steal from people, but I just help people steal rather than steal myself. Kids, children.
I'm sure that holds up in a court of law.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything on me. I haven't stolen anything, and it's for the kids. That's what Rose said.
All right. Well, we'll discuss that later. We need to find Rose and get started on this meeting. Can I start scanning for Rose now?
Roll me another investigation, again, at advantage.
Yeah. Rose has a different face, by the way. She's like this other person with a cloak on.
I mean, if you guys were stealing, I'm sure they've gone through several places at this point.
I mean,
That would be the smart move, Not if you can change how you look, and you're getting into shenanigans, you're going to change how you look pretty frequently, so they can't really pin you down. So
I think she did say to meet back up at the temple, unless you get caught, in which case just to run. But
Of course they did. All right, back to the temple then.
I guess we're playing the waiting game with her.
You guys head back. Rose, you move through the temple district. Do you avail yourself of any other marks on your way towards where you're headed?
No, this wasn't good enough.
Okay. You have
But-
your haul in hand and you move.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They'll pick the 3 biggest temples, I guess, like 2 big ones and then the one that the party was in,
Okay.
and go find the kids working in the temples.
You're gonna go into the temples?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So, Helm, another one that is large up there is Lathander. That's the Morning Lord. I knew that. Let's see. What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
What? I said Morning Lord, not Morning Wood.
I didn't know. That's not what I was giggling at. I'll tell you guys later.
Oh no. I'm trying to find out who the third one will be. Where are the other? But yeah, I mean, you're able to find.
They'll find
Pretty
like
easy.
one. They'll find like one kid who's working in the first temple and just kind of like crouch down and just hold out a goal to just. How many of you are working here?
He kind of looks down at you. The one you found is probably about 8, 9. Skinny, but not like malnourished or mistreated, just young and growing. About 10. At least in the room they have me in.
All right. Are they back in that room? Can you lead me there?
He kind of like looks around. You're in this main temple, like what is it called? The fucking oh my god, the main chamber. I can't remember what it's called.
Atrium.
Well,
Foyer.
yeah, the atrium. You're in the main atrium of the temple. Thank you. And
I just
and
guessed.
you
I'm
found
sorry.
him. He's just sort of off to one side and is just sort of like polishing one of the statues as you came up and started talking to him. And he looks around and he looks over at one of the priests, and they're just in a nice, lovely conversation with a couple of the parishioners there. I'm not. I don't think I'm supposed to.
It's okay. Here. And they'll look around a little bit, shrug the cloak back on, like look around and see like somebody who's like across the room, one of the priests or something, and turn into them.
Roll me a perception check. Okay, 23. That's not bad.
Getting better.
You hear across the room, and there are a number of priests and like priestesses. Just my brain is just farting out all the
Nuns.
words of holy men tonight. I cannot think of them, but there are a
Clergymen.
lot of clergymen. Thank you, the clergy that works here. Thank you. Apparently, Laura is my thesaurus tonight, which I'm cool with. But there
You
are a
get to do
bunch
all
of
the religious
clergymen
stuff.
all working here and offering just aid or consultation to different parishioners. You look around, there's probably about a dozen or so, and across the room you do see one that's about the same height and build as you, and you quickly just change your face and make what small adjustments you can. The kid before you, kind of his eyes go wide, and he looks at you and goes, "What? What?
They just hold one finger up to their lips like in a motion and just like put one hand on his back and just, all right, child, to your room, come on.
You still are
And
wearing.
start like leading
Well,
him.
you have a cloak on, but you're not wearing any of the.
Robes.
No, but hopefully it's
Okay.
enough.
Roll me a stealth
At
check
least.
at advantage, because you do have the face of somebody who works here. And with a default 25 persuasion, you can get the kid moving. Okay, all right, that was good. Let's see. He leads you down the like side alleyway of pews. Okay, and past a number of groups of people paying worship to Lathander, as this is the temple that you have come into. You see one group, and for a moment, you think that the priest that they're speaking with looks at you, and you lock eyes with him. But as you like, your eyes widen a little bit, and you're like, is he going to notice me? Is he going to see me? You realize he's actually looking past you. He's not looking directly at you. He's just sort of taking in the scene of the magnificence of the temple
Staring.
in this direction. And in that moment, your heart skips a beat, but he doesn't call out, and the kid just keeps leading you down. Why you want to speak to everybody? As he leads you out of the main atrium chamber into the back, is it like rectory, I think is what it's called? Where
Couldn't
they
tell you
have,
there. I don't
yeah.
know.
It
But
essentially leads into a hallway chamber, and he'll lead you through these stone hallways back towards where you know that they have the barracks rooms for.
Rose just quietly, I just want to talk. Let's just say I've been where you are, kid, and you can do better.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, we're doing good. We're helping, and we eat, and it's
You're helping them. And if you want to stay, if they treat you well, then that's all right. But I just want to see if
roll me an
I want to
insight
see
check.
if maybe
Go ahead.
insight.
You want to see if maybe.
If anyone feels differently.
Okay. He kind of like winces a little bit, and I mean, I want to go home, but home isn't not since.
I know. But this is a big town, and with help, there's all kinds of places around here that aren't using you for their own gain. There's inns, there's taverns. I can help you get out of here.
He looks at you like as you're walking down. He finally stops. He goes, "This is our room. I don't know who's here. What? Why?
Just
Why?
come in.
You could do better, kid. Talking to a literal child in a safe place, telling them to hit the streets.
He leads you in. There are two others in here that are just sort of resting in their bed. It is not a large room. It is maybe about 12 feet across, 8 feet in the other direction, and there's about 5 bunk beds in here, and it's pretty much all the room there is. There's a small table off to one side with like a chair in front of it, but it's hardly even big enough to write on. But as he comes in, he kind of just runs up and goes, "Hey, Hank, Hank, wake up, somebody here." And he kind of just, the other kid goes, what's going on? Why? I was
Are
resting.
any of them older?
The one he woke up seems to be about like 12. The other
Okay.
one is a younger girl. She's probably about like 9, and she's in one of the other bunks on the other side of the room.
Rose will change back to themselves and just carefully enter the room, close the door.
Who are you? What? And looks at you. What are you doing here? And he gets out of bed, like still wiping sleepies from his eyes, and kind of stands in front of the young boy that led you here. And
I want to talk. You care about them, right?
Kind of looks at you. Yeah.
What's
Is this
it to
place any
ya?
different? Do they treat you well here?
Better than some.
Yeah. Just come here for a second, and they'll just sit on one of the beds and take out the coin pouch and like pour some of it into their hand.
Sit down. He hasn't moved. You kind of like move into the room and sit down and reach. And as you reach for the pouch, you see him like watching your hand. He's almost like he's got that instinctive defense to him. That like
yeah, they're trying to be non-threatening.
Yeah. And you sit down. You pull out the bag, and he looks at it, and he narrows his eyes. Oh, All right. So, what? We buy our way into the underground? What? What do you want us to do?
Not the underground. Look, he said your name was Hank, right?
Yeah.
I know it doesn't look like it now, but I've been where you've been. I've done this before, and maybe they treat you better here. That's great, but I know there's always better. If I give you money, you take the two of them, and you go, the three of you, you could find a better place, like an inn. Just take money, ask them for a room, ask them for work.
Roll me a persuasion check. You always roll so well when you need to. He kind of like looks at the money. He looks down in his hand, and his eyes turn like they widen a little bit. This is platinum.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna give this to me.
I am. I know life is, if not comfortable here, it's not.
There's nowhere to go. He kind of like
There
starts
are.
picking up. No, he starts picking up the money. No, I mean here. If I stay here, my only choices
Yeah.
are join the clergy. Our only choices.
And ask for money from rich people for the rest of your life. You want that?
Kind of looks over. The little girl kind of has woken up and is just sort of watching quietly from one side. He thinks it over. You could tell he's definitely weighing the options. He looks at the two young ones that are his wards at the moment, and he looks at the bag. How much is
It's
in there?
comfortable. 200 for the three of you. I know it's comfortable here, but it's not a life.
You're fucking 12. The oldest one is 12.
Yeah, but
In a lot of
He-
cases during this type of era, 12 is technically an adult.
yeah, he's ready
It's
to.
old for an orphan.
Hmm.
For an orphan, but you're giving them a lot of money, telling them to go out, and that's gonna put a target on their back when 3 kids are suddenly able to afford an intro.
I mean, we can't.
Not to go throw it out at, like, just to ask for a job.
Kind of like susses it up. He looks at. I can't leave the others in here. All my other friends.
Then take them too.
He looks down at the bag. We'll talk about it. But you're right. No life here. Out there, maybe we can make one. I'll leave it up to them. And we'll go from there. He kind of like takes the money that you've given him.
Just be careful.
Why
Uh.
are you doing?
Because-
He's like looking at you very confused. Like he's not used to just outward generosity like that, like without having to be cajoled out of people.
Look, kid. Why? Because I wish someone had done this for me. I wish I had gotten out of here sooner. Didn't have to troll the streets asking people for money, getting beat every night. It's bullshit.
You see him kind of wince a little bit.
And do you know how much, if you took this kind of money and went to a tavern even, nothing special, just ask them for work. If you can pay for a room, they always need cleaners, busboys.
Kitchen hands.
anything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. What's your name?
Rose.
Thank you, Rose. I'll discuss it with the others tonight, and those that are ready to go. He kind of like swallows hard. We'll go.
It's scary, but
It is.
it's necessary.
And as you say that, the rest of you have been. Well, I guess you're going to move to the other temples, right?
Yeah, well, they gave them 200. They'll probably, with the last of it, go just back to the temple that we left the rest of the group.
A similar sequence of events, just because of moving things along. As
Yeah.
you get to the Temple of Helm, there are similar waifs working there, and you can roll me a persuasion check at advantage.
Give them the same thing, better than I can do it because role playing is hard.
I know. It was good. Okay, 25. That was... This one is a little less sold on the idea, but you leave them the bag of money, and they do promise to either help others leave or allow those who want to go with it.
Okay.
But you leave it a
As long as
little
they
less
don't-
certain. Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as they ask them to promise just not to, don't give it to the church and don't let them know that you have it. Just hide it well.
They can agree to that. But as you head back into the main chamber, your face once again changing into a local clergyman there to help you sneak out. You hear Ken's voice in your head as Ken, you've finally connected your message cantrip. You have been messaging Rose for probably the last hour as you moved around the temple district. And finally here, back where you started, you connect with Rose.
Rose,
Oh, hi.
where did you go?
What do you mean? I'm here at the temple.
Bullshit. Now she told us everything.
As you say that, you look up at the top of the stairs, and Rose is just standing there, kind of leaning on a pillar, smiling down at you.
Oh, son of a...
Can you at least be quicker when you do these things? Because I don't want to just sit in the middle of town for 2-3 hours waiting on you guys.
Fair. It wasn't supposed to take that long, but
At least
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it, like send word that it's going to be a while, so we could kind of wander around ourselves instead of waiting.
I didn't know how long you guys were gonna take. My bad. Yeah,
All I
I'm
need
done.
is well, like 20-30 minutes tops for them to cast a couple greater restorations.
Who knows, man? Just if they're gonna make you sit and listen to their spiel, it goes on a long time.
This just goes back. Please communicate with us, because it's 2 hours at least. I don't like churches. He kind of looks back and seeing if anybody's there. Like, no offense if you are, but this ain't my jam, so I don't want to be here for 2 hours.
Like I said, it wasn't supposed to take that long. I'm here. We're leaving. Let's go.
We'll talk later, but let's get to this meeting.
You head for Baldur's Gate's info. Council of 4. The High Hall. Okay. Fortunately, the High Hall is here in the temple's district. As you begin to ask around, people can kind of point you down towards it's towards the outer side of the district, away from the main central temple. But what you do find is this large enclave, like a walled hall. The walls are probably about 30 feet tall, and on the interior there's a small courtyard and then a building that is probably about 5 stories tall and has some small peaks like towers in the back. As you approach, the main gate is open, but there are 2 guards kind of standing out front of it. And as you approach, they kind of stand at attention, and the one on your left as you come up addresses you. Halt! Who goes there?
Good day to you, sir. My name's Ken Silverlight. We have a meeting with the council. Um, the admiral must have sent word ahead of our arrival.
Regarding the new landmass.
The island.
Yes, we were informed. Please, he kind of looks over at the other guard who nods at him. Follow me. I will lead you in, and he will lead you through the large gates and into the main hall. He leads you into what is like a large council chamber. There is rows of seats to your left as you come in. There are just like these rows of like it's just a place for the audience, for people that are there to oversee the proceedings. And at this moment, they're all empty. It's just probably about 100 empty seats. To your right, on a raised platform, sitting at a large table, there are 4 very large, like throne seats, equidistant from each other, kind of spread out on this raised platform. Sitting in them are 4 individuals who are kind of just, as you walk in, talking amongst themselves. There are bits of paperwork and drinks and remnants of meals kind of sitting on the tables as they're talking. Where is the information on Council of 4? All right. Just getting a idea here as to how they all look. As you come in, all 4 of them are human. It's not unusual. There are a lot. I mean, humans tend to outnumber the rest of the races pretty heavily here in the Stored Coast. But for there to be in a council of 4 no other representations, it doesn't strike you as odd, but it does kind of take your notice. From the left to the right, you see a probably like late middle-aged man, maybe late 40s, early 50s. He's got long blondish hair, and he's kind of just sitting comfortably in this large chair. Those of you with martial skill can kind of read this body language as he sits there, that he is a soldier or warrior. He at least has some sort of like fighting prowess. To his right, or I guess to the right of him, to his left, is another older man sitting very, very straight in his chair with his hands clasped before him, wearing like this tight red and yellow overcoat, close cropped beard, and like long black hair that's graying at the sides, tied back behind his head. Next is a older woman with a like a bun on the back of her head as she's kind of sitting between these 2, the gentleman to her left and the next one. She's kind of like moving between having conversations with both of them. She'll gesture towards one and turn to the other and talk to him as you guys are coming in. And then where's the last one? That was that one. This one is a large, like rotund older man, white hair, just like combed back, and he has this mug in his hand of ale as the woman to his left is talking. And as the guards escort you in and kind of stand at the front, they address it. Council of 4, I present to you the adventurers who landed the island off of the coast as per your request. If there is anything else, please let me know how I can be of assistance. And he kind of like nods and moves off to one side. The four of them finish talking and kind of look down at you, and then the woman speaks. Well, greetings. I am Belin Stelmain. This, and she motions to the one, like to her right. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. She's 3. Uh, 2 is Torlin Silvershield. This is Mr. Abdel Adrian and Lord Diller Portier, as she motions to the rotund gentleman to her left. I'm not quite sure I know who we are addressing. I believe... Did you guys introduce yourselves to the Admiral? I can't remember.
I don't actually remember.
I think only 2 people introduced themselves,
we
and that
showed
was
our
Ken
ID
and Eodos.
Yeah, we showed our ID tags to him, so.
But those are the only people that actually introduced themselves.
She nods. I believe I know of you from the Admiral who alerted us of your presence. Ken and Eodos, members of the Guardians of the Sword Coast. The rest of you would be so kind.
Council members, these are the rest of my team. Together we form the Wanderers of Starlight. As you may have heard previously from the Admiral, my team had successfully diverted the newly formed island to the sea. To prevent any
Instead of
disaster.
onto your city.
Yeah.
Onto the city. Now, see, this is what we were concerned with last night. Your island appeared off of our horizon as the dusk fell and struck lightning and fear across our city last night.
Wow.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't ours until, we took care of the threat.
We stopped the thing that was trying to, bomb your city.
And the looks between all of you. Well, that does at least track with what we were gathering from our observations, at least during the chaotic few moments last night before the island decided to... And the kind of like the larger man to her left just takes a drink of his beer. Yeah, scared the shit out of us flying over our whole city. Well, at least, put it in the ocean. You didn't try to land it on the ground, so...
You're welcome.
All right.
If it makes you feel better, we didn't really have a choice in landing it. It was more like we were able to stop the thing, so he kind of diverted it and just, went away as it landed. Pure luck and happenstance that it did not hit your city.
The the like more weaselly looking one, Torlin Silvershield, leans forward. So you are to tell us that you have no control over this island now and are incapable of moving it from its current location.
Oh yeah, it's definitely sedentary now. It's there.
Forever.
He kind of like whispers something over his shoulder to the guy to his right, who just like leans back and speaks back to them. Belin Stelmain. Well, that unfortunately rules out the most expedient solution to the problem. I believe you had already spoken with the Admiral. I cannot remember the name I gave him, and I cannot find it in my notes, so I'm just going to call him the Admiral, because it's not super important.
I remember.
Yeah,
Fucking
you remember?
Oh,
Fistbender.
yeah.
That's right. Fistbender.
You tried to change it on us, but we were adamant about it being a Fistbender.
That must have been why I did not write it down here. I'll put it in my notes now. Admiral Fistbender had informed us of your intent to at least put some sort of lighthouse or alert on the island to help with naval trade. Now, fortunately, at the moment, for you, our naval trade is at a relative standstill due to the current issues plaguing the coast. So we do have time to at least come to amiable solutions. The island itself, we have just been referring to it as the Falling Star, but however you would wish to refer to it, is outside the jurisdiction of our city. It does not fall within any sort of means of our influence, and we have no intent of stretching our borders that far. However, you now pose the closest occupiable land to the city, which could be seen as a threatening position to be in. And she looks over all of you. What assurances can you give that you do not mean us here or the city itself any ill will or harm?
Well, Councilwoman, I was always told that I was raised with the idea of doing right by the people beside you. Paying back, good deeds with more good deeds. So, as I don't know if my word would mean anything, but you have it. Me and my team would absolutely not bring harm to your city. Which I am also thankful for this meeting as to possibly extend an opportunity, an offer of sorts. Um, we would like to claim it as sovereign ground and to form a new city state, with you being our first sponsor.
Sponsorship. Okay. Well, she kind of like chuckles. The Weasley looking man doesn't really change his expression very much. Abdel, the one on the farthest to the left, who looks like he was a soldier or an adventurer at one point, just chuckles to himself a little bit. The larger one on the far right from your perspective is just he's just eating, and he's just kind of been like listening to you and like chewing on like this large turkey leg and just drinking from this big goblet, and he'll like look over at her and then he'll look back at you and just keep eating. Well, that is very ambitious of you. Yeah. uh Interesting point. Your ghostly artifacts actually stopped when you came in here, and the rest of you probably would have felt various magical artifacts stop functioning as soon as you stepped into this hall.
Except our.
Sorry, I had forgotten about that. But you do still strike quite an intimidating image, Eodos, and she's looking over you all. Well, we have interacted with adventurers in the past who have proven themselves to be potent allies and wonderful leaders, correct, Abdel? And he just sort of laughs. I mean, I guess if that's what you think of me, I suppose. But it's up to you. I don't really. I'm just here to try to keep the chaos to a minimum. If they're not offering any harm, I don't see any harm in just letting them be. But I don't know what all we could offer as far as assisting them with the city state. Like, how do you? He kind of like looks past at Dillard, and Dillard, how do you even start a city state? Like, do you even know? Large man just sort of burps. Ain't got a clue. Place was here when I got, drafted. Just
I mean,
guess you
if we
just
could borrow like some maybe ships or some means of transportation to get materials out there, we can kind of get started on like the lighthouse as a main thing. We don't need a lot of ships crashing or putting lives at risk.
Okay. Well, we do have ships, and there are many guilds that could be commissioned to assist with such things. I am more than happy to help put you into contact with such people as to make those arrangements. It would actually assist in our recent economic strife to have such work provided for us, so that is an amiable exchange. As long as you are able to afford the wages and materials for our workers, we could probably work out some sort of deal to reduce transportation costs in the effort to facilitate more work here within the city. And in doing so, kind of looks down at everybody, foster hopefully good relations, so even if you do not reach such lofty status as a city-state, you could offer some sort of aid in our trade route moving forward. It's very difficult where you have found yourselves located directly in the path of transportation. But if you could provide a safe harbor or some sort of means of protection or guidance, or even just a place where we could potentially house and deliver supplies, these things could be discussed. Correct? And the man kind of just like sneers, like, I suppose we could. Although ships don't come cheap, you know. Not sure how much we could just give them. And she, no, not give. We're just going to lend them the transportation to help get our people there, give them the jobs and help build the economy. And they start going into this like debate back and forth as to the merits of it. Before they finally come to a conclusion that she convinces him, but he definitely doesn't seem as on board. From left to right, you'd probably gauge them as like indifferent, but definitely on board. Doesn't seem to think you guys are worth it is the second one. The third one's the one you've been talking to, and she's like, okay, they're not being outwardly threatening. And then the one on the right looks almost as bored as Rose. He's just sort of eating.
So what's causing all the economic problems?
The cult. Fucked it with everything.
Life.
And
Yes, and with that, I would like to lay out our new city-state's primary directive: the complete and utter destruction of the cult of Tiamat. They have been an absolute plague on the coast and at the world at large. The threat they pose, it's beyond.
You wouldn't believe us if we told you.
Yes,
Abdel.
I don't want to, insult your intelligence, but the threat they pose is beyond imagination.
Kind of kicks his feet down and leans forward. So you really are them, aren't you? You're not just taking their name and trying to make similar changes. He looks over each of you and kind of susses up. Kind of lingers on nobody, like,
he doesn't look like a big armor guy or a gold dragonborn.
but he's like looking over all of you. But you really are them. The real Wanderers of Starlight, the ones who died on the March of Dragons.
We didn't die, only a little bit.
We got better.
Exactly.
Kind of like
Yes, sir.
leans back. I mean, if they say that they're gonna destroy the cult, I don't see why we would want to try standing in their way.
And to sweeten the deal, as it were, I'm not sure if you've heard any rumors, but I'm what's called an artificer. I primarily create and, draw up, create and manufacture what I like to call magitech items. And I am willing to sell you some of my inventions for a small royalty fee.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
But wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more.
Fuck.
I know. It's all good.
Can I give him a bardic inspiration?
Sure.
Just kind of like pat him on the shoulders, like, "Hey, you got this, man. You're real smart."
He
We
does.
believe in you.
Hey, he didn't even need
He
it.
doesn't need it. He doesn't need it
Hell
because
yeah.
as you go to cast your bardic inspiration, it doesn't work in an anti-magic field.
Huh.
But can you?
Well, encouraging words only then.
Right, right. It was the thought that counted. You tell them about your magitech, and you see Abdel looks intrigued. The one you've been talking to, Berlin, kind of like leans forward. Yes, I mean that would be helpful since the trade routes have fallen down. Our influx of healing items and magical bric-a-brac has definitely dwindled in recent years. Trade usually came from Iriabor, where we were stocked on various supplies. We don't have as many enchanters employed here, and they have found themselves pressed thin lately. So if you have magical capabilities and can create such items, or could school or assist our enchanters in more expedient ways of crafting such items, that would be quite helpful.
I will do my absolute best, esteemed council. And if it would assuage any worries, we can get together for a small demonstration. Do you have any fields or anything at the, nearby that we could, I could prove that my inventions are worth your attention?
Roll me another persuasion check.
Also,
Yeah.
just for like
Hey.
a little bit of help, like for being able to go back and forth, since it seems like our future endeavors are going to be pretty beneficial to both sides here. Is there like an alternative teleportation circle that you have here?
One that's
We-
not
we-
broken, apparently.
I had the previous one, but apparently it is not functional. So we don't really have a like expedient way to get here.
I see.
I mean, we can get to our island.
Yeah, I mean we can get home,
Mhm.
but we can't really get back here.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check. And Ken,
That
you
kid got his nat 20, baby.
I know.
Right?
You offer a demonstration, and she seems a little bit like hesitant, like we're very busy. But the one on the far left, Abdel, kind of stands up. I mean, he says he's got some sort of new type of magical items. I gotta see this. I mean, if he's gonna demonstrate, let's shit, where can we take him? I mean, he kind of like looks you in the eyes. How much room do you need?
Not too much room. Maybe. How about a field large enough for, I guess, arrow bow training?
All right.
Just
Yeah.
a-
Yeah. Look, so the front, basically, the way that you guys were led in came through a large walled like courtyard that is about 200 feet across. Probably, good enough for your needs. Like we'll just step outside. Let me go and get everybody out. All right. And he kind of like stands up. He's got this almost like excited puppy dog look on his face.
Ooh, new toy.
New toy. Okay. 5 minutes, and he heads out. Magical circles. So for teleportation, yes, we do have one here in the high hall. We could potentially allow you access to it. It is guarded, so when you come through, you will be, greeted by one of our royal guardsmen here. I guess it's the kind of like the council guard, and they will then be able to escort you out. But yes, we could get you that if that would assist.
It would make things infinitely easier on us going forward, because trying to get everything sorted out on a new island is probably going to be a process. So being able to get to and from it.
I will
Yes.
also say, if you want to you were talking about sending people and boats over there to do work and stuff. We don't really have a harbor per se, more like a 80-foot vertical cliff.
A sheer cliff face leading up.
Yeah.
Yes, that was also going to be a conversation. It could be that.
I don't really know what to do about that, to be honest.
Anyone have stone shape?
Yeah.
Just carved
kinda-
stone stairs.
Sits and thinks. Well, I mean, could carve a stairway or some sort of meandering path up, but I have been informed of the difficulties with reaching your.
Inaccessibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Did you know anyone with an airship?
Can we buy an airship?
She kind
Can you
of
afford
like
an airship?
stops and like there's like this passing like confusion, amusement, maybe. She kind of sits down. I mean, judging by your attire, you do have quite a bit of capital for powerful artifacts. Their ships would be roughly about the same, but we could facilitate the purchase of one if it would assist.
How much could an airship be? 100 gold?
It's a few factors larger. She kind of like looks over at Torlin. Torlin, yours was what 28,000 somewhere around there for your most recent. He just nods. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that came fully equipped, of course, and ready to go. And
Enos kind of looks between the party like, how much you guys got on you? I've got about 12 grand right now.
I mean, we can't not afford it, but you know.
And he said that out loud. Like that was a genuine question posed to the party.
yeah. She watches you guys carefully. Like they're all being the only one who is not being observant of. Well, there's two right now not being observant of you. The one on the far right, Dillard, who just seems to be mostly interested in stuffing his gullet. He's listening, but it's more of just sort of like you guys are what's on TV, and he's just watching that while he eats. Torlin and Boleyn have been the ones paying the most attention. The Weasley-looking older gentleman with the black hair and the graying at the sides has just been like his eyes have never left one of you. It's always going right between whoever's talking and watching very carefully and judging what you're saying. And as you say this, like she kind of smirks a little bit, but his gaze does not change at all.
I mean, we could definitely use an airship. We might have to go hunt some things, it sounds like, just to make sure we're not, emptying funds here. But it would go a long way being able to go back and forth. We might not have a harbor, but there's plenty of space on the,
Yeah, and I mean,
island
we were
part.
planning to build one.
Yeah. So
It was
I mean,
on the
if
docket.
we can get a whole airship, that'd be great.
Mm.
Well, you see the door open, and it opens with just like, I was promised a magical demonstration. Why am I still waiting? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about all this later? Come on.
Right, of course. My apologies. Let's discuss the finer details at a later time. Yeah.
Yes, we will keep a line of communication open for you. We will not be immediately accessible, but if you do need to speak with us, please reach out to one of our assistants here at the High Hall. They can pass the message on to us, and we will make time to speak with you in the future. If you need any assistance with the purchasing of an airship or facilitating of a crew, let one of us know, or me know. And she kind of looks over everybody, who the only one who seems to be on your side right now is, well, not on your side, but not indifferent, is her. Just let me know, and I will assist however possible.
Before we leave, or before I guess I mean, man, he's impatient. Can we get that in writing that you are cool with us being our own city state and having this land outside of Baldur's Gate so that we have, like
A legal,
documentation?
a legal leg to stand on, and in the event
Right.
that somebody with influence that may or may not be involved with the cult tries to do something, as they are wont to do.
She chuckles and looks down. Yes, I believe we can at least draw up some documentations that let's call it a temporary or a tentative treaty of trade and peace between our two city-states. You, being outside of our jurisdiction, do not need our permission to call yourselves whatever you'd like. And if you have the money to stand in that, then I wish you only the best of luck. And if you can employ some of our citizens and infuse our city with some much needed capital, then that will be a wonderful ally to have. All right. Yeah, it's all fine and dandy. She's gonna do the paperwork. Let's go! And he just turns and starts heading out to the yard.
Yes, magic first, magic circle second.
Yeah, whatever kid's display is, we'll just get him to show us to the circle, and then we'll get it from there.
Sounds good. All right, Ken, what are you displaying for Abdel Adrian, who is excited as a kid in a candy shop? The Dillard Portier, Lord Dillard Portier, the larger gentleman, has also followed you out carrying his 4th turkey leg and 8th mug of ale. He's just chowing down, and he just is watching. Right, well, this should be fun.
Right. Well, to begin with, I'd like to briefly give you a quick rundown on my thought process in building new items. I'm sure you're aware of the essence known here as, you guys call it ether here, right? The spellcasters here call it ether, right?
I mean, that's what my wizard buddy called it years ago, I believe. Or the weave or something like that. But yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, so where I'm from, we call it mana. And everything, and I mean everything, from the greatest of beings and monsters to the smallest blade of grass, is composed of mana. And it's all around us. And I use that as a means of harnessing the energy required to use the items. It basically uses the principle of absorbing just a small amount of mana in the atmosphere and, use it to operate. But first things first, do you want to see weapons, support items, or miscellaneous items first? I got all three.
The whole elevator pitch as it was. Let's see what you've got. Let's start with weapons.
Okay. First things first, then. And then Ken's gonna pull out.
Just gonna show off your arsenal.
Basically.
Okay.
He'll start
So
with
Tony Stark Iron Man pitch. Go ahead, roll me a give me a intelligence check at advantage. And it's basically what I'm doing is, because you don't have persuasion proficiency, I'm giving you a intelligence based persuasion. Okay. All right. Let me roll a couple dice.
If we're also adding proficiency, that's a 19.
I was gonna say, yeah. Could I have done bardic inspiration now that we're out of the room?
Yeah, it'll work out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We step outside and everybody's magic comes back, and it's just like a whole different ball game now.
Yeah, it's like being able to breathe. Okay, 17 is better. 17 does make a difference. As you begin to show off the arsenal, you call Race Vilgar. And as you've walked around town, you've just had Race at your side, right? He's just been putzing around with you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let me open up my bag and grab Fafnir.
Oh no, poor baby.
My baby.
He just was flittering out and sits down, rides on your shoulders.
Yeah, I'm adjusting it a tad to he's basically like a ferret sized Valstrax, like Robo Valstrax.
Right, I'm cool with that. But as they kind of like take in this aesthetic, they walk out ahead of you. Well, the adventurer does, Abdel does. He walks out ahead of you and kind of turns around. And as you guys step out, there's this like whoosh of magic as it reignites. So your ghastly image and visage just sort of encompasses you like a shadowy kind of terrifying blanket. The rest of you begin to glow just ever so faintly with the magic that's literally infused into your skins. And Race Vilgar, who's been waiting out here for you to come back because he doesn't like anti-magic fields, bounds up to you, and as you begin to show off your arsenal, your armaments, you go into your full armored form into the Race Velgar armored system and show a relatively impressive sequence of attacks and utilizations of your magical weapons. They are impressed. Abdel he'll kind of like ask for some clarifications onto how like they function in combat and things like that, and get a rundown of it. What you learn through showing off your armaments here is that magical items in Baldur's Gate are not nearly as prominent. You guys are very used to Erebor, which is a very advanced magical mecca of the Sword Coast. It's where most magical enhancement, like enchantment research is done, and where a lot of the new stuff and new technologies and new processes are coming out of, and it's where a lot of the exports come out of. And since the trade routes, they're extremely interested in what you can provide as far as weaponry for their guards and soldiers, as well as like support materials, because healing potions are a constant like they're just being used as guards have to protect civilians from not bandits, but like muggers, robbers, thieves, murderers. They take damage, they use magical healing, and the various enchanters around here and churches can produce it, but they're very used to having an influx. So that's really what they're looking for, is someone who can provide for them potions and a plethora of quality but like low cost magical armaments and arms, because that's what they need for their armies and soldiery. At least talking to Abdel, because he seems to have a very military martial aspect on this as you show off your arsenal of inventions.
Not sure if I can. Well, I'm not specialized in alchemy, unfortunately, so I might not be able to be as good with my mechanics with alchemy, but I am willing to give it a shot.
Listen, he kind of like taps the armor. If you could get us anything even remotely like this, or show a couple of people how you built this thing, that could definitely go a long way to protecting the city.
Yeah,
We're definitely better at hurting than healing.
Some of us.
Ken's gonna found his own artificer school.
Yeah, I'm willing to hold a seminar. Just, if you want it done as soon as possible, I'm willing to do so. Just let me know.
We'll put some word out with our council approved enchanters guilds and see if they have anybody looking to extend or expand their knowledge.
Will that aid at all in some of our overhead costs, perhaps?
I mean, if he's willing to offer his knowledge up, y'all don't work for us. So if he's gonna be helping us, we will, help you in turn.
Perfect.
As he says that, the Boleyn walks out from inside. She's got a small, like, it's not, I guess it's kind of like a normal printer-sized piece of paper, like 8.5 by 11, rolled up of parchment. She hands it out to, I can't remember who asked. It was Rose, right?
Yep, it was Rose.
Yeah,
To Rose. A
they
letter
asked, but they'll
of,
definitely like hand it off to Ken
yeah,
immediately.
a tentative treaty between our two city-states, stating that we will offer aid in building up your new island, and in turn, you agreed not to bring any harm to the citizens or city of Baldur's Gate. Going forward from there are plenty of rooms for trade and other opportunities going down the line, but no tax obligations either way.
Well, that's good. Is there an addendum in there about harming citizens if they are part of the cult?
She kind of like looks. Hold on. Roll a D. I mean, I cannot speak for the character of all of our citizens, so I suppose, given those circumstances, she looks you in the eyes. If you break the laws within the city's laws will apply to you. Beyond that, I have no jurisdiction.
I mean, because I can promise you there are people in your city who are part of the cult. And if they fall under that umbrella...
Roll me a persuasion check.
There's a pretty big name. One that arguably needs to be routed.
27, okay. She kind of like she takes a short breath in through her teeth. I understand your position, I do. And I do know that not everybody just gestures. There is no way for a city of over 1 million people to be entirely pure. I do not want to stand in the way of you doing what needs to be done, and I would not. But I cannot give you blanket permission to kill within the city. So, if you do and are caught, the laws of the city will apply. However, your circumstances will be taken into account. Is that fair? It's not a get out of jail free card, because I do not give those out, but if you do break our laws, I am willing to listen to understand the reasons as to why, and given a good enough reason, I can look the other way.
I heard as long as we're not in the city, it's free game.
Sorry?
I heard as long as we're not in the city, it's free game.
That is correct, yes.
I mean,
I
yeah.
do not have any jurisdiction beyond the city walls and the various out towns around Baldur's Gate. Everything that would be included in, say, a map of Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
I suppose that's as good as we can get. Yeah, we have told you outright that that's our end goal.
I understand, and I do want to help. Who do you have suspects? You seem to be certain that those amongst us have. Should there be people that I should be aware of?
Well, before we go further, madam, would you and the rest of the council be willing to sign a non-disclosure agreement?
Within the city, so you have to abide by it.
The information that we have could, depending on the relationship of said suspect, could compromise or could form a conflict of interest. So
Yeah. It could also compromise a whole lot.
Yeah.
So you suspect somebody in power here within the city?
There's a
To say the least.
well-funded noble.
And probably not only one of them, but there's only one that we have,
we
concrete
know one
suspicions.
is for sure involved. But obviously, like they were saying, there's potential conflicts of interest. They might try to pull something if they are made aware that other people are aware.
Also, signing whatever this agreement that Ken is going to draft, we could at least fill you in on what we're doing and why. The full story.
Yeah, because it kind of came across like we're just gonna go indiscriminately killing if we even consider somebody to be in the cult. We're not about wanton killing, We're not just jumping people for the sake of jumping them. There's a handful that we are aware of that need to be dealt with, but I don't mean that in a sense that like we tell you this and then we just go kill them, or we need to get a plan to stop them because they are funneling money into the cult and facilitating a lot of shit that does not need to be made possible as easily as it currently is.
Kind of looks between you guys talking and over towards Abdel and Dillard, who are watching the presentation and are now just kind of been listening. And Abdel nods. I mean, if their reputation is anything to be judged on, they were heroes before they died. I mean,
We're still heroes.
Debatable.
and now
Hey.
he kind of like looks at everybody. You really think that you could stop something as big as the Cult of Dragons?
We just went in. We just went into the Astral Sea and routed the cult from taking a foothold with the Gith Yankees. So, feel like we're pretty competent at what we do.
Also, it's less of a do we think we're capable and more of do we have a choice but to try.
She looks between you guys and the other two councilmen. She kind of looks over her shoulder back towards the chamber. Perhaps we should speak in my private chambers. Abdel, Dillard, would you mind if I spoke with the Wanderers in private to get their full debriefing? And she kind of gives them a very knowing look in which Abdel kind of nods. Don't worry, I think I can pick up what you're laying down here. Come on, big man, let's go see what Torlin's up to. And he kind of puts his arm over the big guy's shoulder, and the big guy just takes a big bite and goes, "What was that about them dying? I'm not. What? Just, don't worry, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Come on." And he leads him in. Belin looks over all of you. Very well. All right, come with me. Let's go to my chambers. You can tell me if you think you can trust me, and I can try to help. But unless I know who it is, I do not know how far-reaching they might have an influence.
Yeah, I was gonna say there isn't anyone in the council that you.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh no. Feedback.
I think Ken's just got like his mic's open. It's just feedback.
Sorry, I had to run into the kitchen for water.
Oh, it's all good. Okay, go ahead.
But just as we start walking like with her back to the chambers, just like there isn't anyone in the council that you possibly have concerns about?
I have concerns about all my council members. It's only smart to. Abdel is a he's a good man. He definitely has the betterment of the people here at heart, but she kind of looks over all of you. He is an adventurer at heart and has a tendency to think more with his blade than with his brain, if you know what I mean. Dillard's an idiot. He was smart. He was wise, even, maybe. I could call him wise, but in the last couple years, his mind has just fallen, decayed. Torlin is a snake. He is out to help himself. He is one of the more prolific merchants here within town and controls a great amount of the property in the steeps. His interests are going to be more aligned with the city itself, and he does not believe the cult will have an effect here in Baldur's Gate beyond the trade issues that they've created outside of our city. He believes that if we can become self-sufficient, that it should be fine to just ride out whatever storm they were causing. And I don't know what to believe. They pose a threat. We were working with Neverember to help rebuild Neverwinter, and they obviously have no problem with derailing all of those plans, so
No
I don't
disrespect
know.
to your fellow councilman, madam, but he's deluded himself from the level of danger they pose.
I believe they all have. None of them seem to be too concerned with the things the cult is doing. We haven't seen much of them here in town. Honestly, your little event last night was probably the most interesting things that's happened here, aside from just the general state of affairs getting harder and harder for our general citizenry.
I mean, we heard some stuff was going on with this branch of the guild hall. Did you guys know anything about that?
Kind of like narrows her eyes. Would she have heard about that? No, There are, to my last count, 22 adventurer guilds, all with headquarters here within Baldur's Gate. And unfortunately, yes, they tend to be self-policing, just because you're kinda not ones for authority, normally. We've found
Harder.
that to be yes.
Harder to police.
Yes, it's best just to let
Fair.
you take care of your own, so I have not heard much of that, but if that were the case, then I hope it has resolved itself peaceably. But she'll eventually lead you into a large kind of like sitting room with a big desk in the middle, and she'll get herself comfortable in her chair. And her chair isn't like lavish or anything. It's just comfortable looking, nice office chair. There are chairs in here for 3 of you to sit on the opposite side of her table, and then there are some like couches along the back that you can also sit in or stand in. But you have room to talk, and it does seem private. As the door closes behind you, you hear it latch shut. The 2 guards that you had left outside the door, or that she had left, nod as you walk through, close it, and lock it. It has that kind of oppressive, silent feeling of somewhere where no sound gets in or out.
Is there still an anti-magic field?
Yeah.
There is not.
Okay.
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 I was gonna say, as we were coming in, Ian definitely would have summoned Fate Rendered just in the event that we did run into it, so he'd be able to get to his weapon.
Okay. Okay.
He would have
So-
had it on his back at this point, just in case, because it's going nice. It sounds like she's on her side, but it also sounds like she could be part of the cult and just trying to get us to spill the beans. So you never know.
You never know. She purses her hands before her. All right then. Do you want to fill me in on everything you suspect?
Before
Before
that,
we do
uh,
that,
NDA. While I do understand your position, let's just say we've been through a lot. So something, to make it official would help us. It would ease our minds, if only a bit.
Official how? I can write a document stating that I am on your side and will not betray you, but who would uphold it?
Man, does anybody have Zone of Truth? We need deaths in this campaign.
Right? That's why I've been waiting for somebody to zone of truth this, and there just is not a zone of truth, so.
I'm
No,
not
but
high
I was
enough.
if we can out of game, if we can get her to like start, like if somebody just asks her like, "Are you with the cult?" and she answers, and Rose would do a subtle spell detect thoughts.
Okay. Well, I don't want to meta, but this is kind of important. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've traveled with Rose. You know Rose's abilities. You look over at Rose. Rose gives you that kind of like, go ahead. I'm just gonna close my eyes and listen. Rose, sit down on one of the back couches and kind of kick your feet up in a nonchalant, like, yeah, this is gonna just take forever because you've been just listening to them talk all day. You
Mhm.
close your eyes, cast your spell, and you open your mind to them.
well, I know I need to ask this for our sake because, like I said outside, the threat they pose is, for all intents and purposes, apocalyptic. So please don't take offense when I ask this. Are you with the cult?
She hears you. In her mind, her initial thoughts are kind of a mix of understanding, revulsion, and then like this very sad, no, of course not. And then you hear, almost as though you had just heard her say it in her mind, Rose, no, of course not. But I do understand you needing to ask.
I'll
Rose.
take a deep breath and like spin around, not making it obvious that he's trying to look back at Rose for confirmation, but he's gonna look
They
at Rose for confirmation.
they just give like a small head nod, and they'll like press the digitation, a couple like green sparkles on the tips of their fingers from the back.
Okay. Well, again, I hope I did. I hope that I didn't offend you when I asked that question, but again, we just had to be sure.
I understand.
Okay. So the suspect that we've confirmed is in bed with the cult is one Kegrum Vogue.
Her surface level thoughts are a number of meetings and this kind of like gut deep revulsion, like just like ugh, that you get.
This guy.
Yeah, and just, of course, that would make sense. He knew, he had to have known. Okay.
Madam, he was there during the caravan. We had confirmed sightings of him talking to the Red Worm speaker of the cult.
No,
I specifically moved him into one of the carts that he was adamantly opposed to opening, lying about what was inside, and it was just a small hoard that they were transporting that they were determined not to show, and he still refused after that. I put him in it himself, and he still denied it.
I do remember that. That does sound like him. But he told us that he had to abandon his. He made boasts about how fortunate he was that he wasn't on the. Of course.
No,
After he
madam.
left us for dead.
Yes. So during the caravan, there was a massive shift in the formation, and then soon after that formation change, we were ambushed by a group of small contingent of lizardmen. A large tree blocked the road, and a means of it was not natural the way that tree blocked the road. And then a black dragon was set upon us. Thankfully, my team and I eliminated it, but the casualties, there were a lot. We lost a lot of good people there. And quite frankly, madam, I hold him as the prime suspect and hope to bring him to charges of conspiracy to mass murder due to that incident.
I know it happened. I'm assuming Rose told. Did Rose tell us about the Dragonborn that now has the black dragon mask?
Yes, they would have, after I had that dream, they would have talked to you guys about it.
Oh,
I thought I
I think we did
remembered.
after, like, on breakfast.
Yeah. So he'd also just kind of chime in, explaining that one of his closest allies, the person he funds that is essentially his bodyguard, is also neck deep in the cult and is currently one of their worm speakers.
and he may have said it in passing to bolster himself an alibi, but he's loopholed his way through the law to arrest some of our friends in an attempt to get our attention. My guess is it's probably a trap.
Kind of like, let me actually roll. And it leans forward. I mean, he does have influence, I know. I know Torlin was pushing for some gods to be sent to Erebor for some diplomatic extraction. Kind of like sits back and starts. You start in her mind as the detect thoughts, and you try to go any deeper before you run out of your minute.
No, they're not looking to upset her or anything.
The last few was just sort of like this sequence of interactions between Vogue and the councilman that had been sitting to her left, the more Weasley-looking guy, Torlin. And it's just sort of like her going through it, and you're seeing it from her perspective, and her like assessing these conversations, like, are they innocent? Are they not? And then as she's like looking through it, you can see this look on her face as she's thinking, and then your spell comes to an end, Rose. But she looks down. Well, that definitely does sound difficult, and difficult to prove, as it would be your word against his. Now, she looks back at Ken. We have heard of what happened on the march with the Black Dragon. Survivors did make their way back down here, and the story did spread. So it was not a complete loss, and you should take comfort and pride in those that you were able to save, because they were grateful towards you.
I was just doing what's natural, madam. There's so much evil in this world. I mean, we're just trying to put a little bit more good in it, bit by bit, day by day.
She smiles. I believe if you were to plead your case to the common man, that you easily could convince them of Vogue's guilt and assuage any responsibilities to actions you may need to perform. However, Vogue is very influential, and bringing him into our courts would be...
Don't we know it?
I cannot condone it, but I can promise you that I will do everything to keep the official government of Baldur's Gate off your back as you pursue him.
Well, we definitely appreciate it, Councilwoman. And like we said before, we're not just here to just willy-nilly execute cultists. I mean, we understand that you have a job to do as well, and if possible, we'll definitely make sure that it doesn't. Our battles does not touch your city.
Try not to. From what we could see of at Highland last night in the sky, the power that you all are capable of wielding, and she looks over at Eodos, who has the Fate Render on his back, and all that, is impressive and could cause structural damage to the city. So just please try to act with what restraint you deem appropriate. But I will not stand in your way. She kind of like stops, thinks, I don't have many ways of reaching out to him. Unfortunately, it's never been my area of influence here in the city to deal with him.
Interesting.
Kind of like, I could tell you where he lives. I could get you his address.
Very interesting.
That's about all I could offer.
Oh, whoops! I dropped this slip of paper with his home address on it.
And
Oh,
if he
no.
were to just happen to die,
Like I said, I cannot condone the use of violence, but you speak with passion, and I believe the claims that you are making against him. It tracks. Like I said, Vogue made a place for himself here within the city by establishing powerful routes, sea trade routes between here and Waterdeep. He was a very influential noble in Waterdeep and has bought himself into our city through 25 plus years of very, very profitable trade from many of the unions here in the city. But before everything got worse, his whole trade routes, they all stopped. We assumed he was rebuilding his fleet or beginning some sort of repair work, but he had pulled all his ships back to the docks
He knew.
and completed his contracts. And in retrospect, it looks like he did know. So I am willing to acquiesce to your judgment on this one. And if you can give me a few moments to sort through some records, I can provide you with his home and leave the rest to you.
Very well. We're probably gonna need a. Let's see. I don't want to say that right now. I can't keep quiet for right now.
I did want to ask, do you have any sort of jurisdiction over prisoners in the city?
Do you know, yes, you were saying that, yes.
Could we leverage that a little bit? Could you send them to labor for what they've done and set them on our island to help build the lighthouse?
Exchange of prisoners.
She kind of smiles at that. Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check. I'm just curious. Either Eodos or Rose. Let's do Eodos, because Rose gets good bounce. Oh, yeah. So many charisma casters. She smiles, and she goes, okay. Now, if they were brought as political prisoners, they would have been sent to Magehold. Do you know their names? How many are we speaking of?
Oh boy. 2, and I know their first names, I think. I know one of their first names.
I like that.
Roll me an intelligence check for Rose.
Yeah, out of character. I don't remember their was it? I don't remember their names either. But in
I
character, I
know
think
Eldkin.
I know
I
Ken
don't
would.
remember the other ladies.
I don't
Or what?
remember either.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
like a 5. It was just don't roll a 1.
like out of character, I don't remember.
you
In-game,
hand over.
memorize them.
Hmm?
I said in game, Ken would memorize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken can describe Eldkin and Orvustia. And she'll nod like, all right, I'll send a messenger to Magehold and see if they're being kept there. If they are, I will have them. Getting up into your keep is the problem, isn't it?
If,
Um,
if,
I mean,
if you literally can just release them to us, like direct me to you, I can take them directly to the keep.
I can do that. I'll have them brought here, and I'll keep them under my watch. And let's see. She kind of like looks out the window. Come back tomorrow. I'll have them set up at a temple or an inn here in the Temple District. And if all goes well, of course, I shouldn't have any issue getting them out of Magehold.
Sounds good. I guess. Are we wanting to schedule the seminar like not early morning, but like kind of like we have time to do a quick seminar and then go on with the prisoner transfer?
Sure. I can. Let's see. She kind of like leans back and pulls a drawer out and starts like flipping through some papers, pulling them out. I mean, I can send some word out to some of the closer enchanter guilds and let them know that we could have a guest speaker here available tomorrow. We can just see how many show up, and you can definitely give them a briefing on what you've been working on.
Sounds great.
Ken shows up in a black turtleneck sweater and a earbud. Welcome to my
Yeah.
TED Talk.
Okay.
What
Exactly.
is artificery?
What is magic?
Well. Also, I know we dumped a lot on your plate. It's been a lot to take in. Did you want to know the whole story of everything going on, or would you rather honestly be in the dark about it?
Would me knowing enable me to help you?
I mean, honestly, most people we tell don't even believe us.
Yeah, I mean, it could help, but it would also
Maybe.
immediately put you in a lot more danger than you would already be in helping us. Like so far, you've been nothing but like helpful, and
Which is a pleasant surprise.
yeah, I'm fully willing to fill you in. But I think Rose had the right idea, asking, before we just dumped a lot of like things that could get you killed on you.
Yeah.
If it's knowledge that could get me killed, I might be better off not knowing. But if in the future my knowing could assist you, please do bring me into the loop. I trust that you're at least acting towards with the betterment of our people at heart, and your actions that you've shown me so far have solidified that assumption. So you at least have my trust for right now.
It's honestly the best we could hope for
All
at
right.
this point.
Let's-
So far, so just about every situation like this that we've been involved in, we've had like 1 out of 10 success with these. So it's kind of nice that you're reasonable and level-headed and not just money-driven.
Mhm. Well, money does help things happen, and hiring our workers and purchasing our goods and building something off of our coast, primarily funded by us, will definitely assist. My motivation has always been the people, and trying to keep as many of them alive as possible. and then beyond that, as many of them happy as possible. She'll show you, unless you guys had anything else you wanted to ask her, but she'll show you down to her office was up on like the 4th floor of this building, and she'll take you down all those stairs back down to the 1st floor, and then down another one into a basement floor, and past a very large door. She will show you the grand hall, the high hall's teleportation circle, and the
All right,
entrance will
cool.
take
Oh, yes.
a minute.
We'll commit that to memory so we can come back here. Sounds like we actually have developed a good little treaty with our new neighbors.
Yeah, it was,
Surprisingly.
there was 3 20-20-21 persuasion checks from Ken. That was seriously helpful in pulling them
gotta give
from
him
a
that, yeah.
neutral to a friendly status, because that was good.
Right, 2 19s and a 20.
Right?
Can't
That
get much
was-
better than that.
Yeah, but you guys can get the teleportation circle and are eventually handed a small piece of paper with a address within the Manorborn district. No other information, just a address. It's mid-afternoon, and you are still here within the temple district outside of the main walls of the High Hall, having introduced yourself to your new neighbors at Baldur's Gate and gained an ally within their council. While you guys discuss what you're doing next, I have to pee so bad.
So we can't act on the address until we get Elfkin and Ulfus shit out. And
Yeah.
when we get word on that, I figured you can probably send word to M and what's his name? I can't remember the elf guy's name. What is it?
Hold on.
Hold on, yeah. You can send word to them to meet us somewhere, and we can also get them onto the island.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what we can do about our boy Jaeger dropping bombs out there in the guild hall, but if we could potentially talk to him, we could also maybe send him to our island to kind of let him get set up. Well, once we have them out of, Baldur's Gate and out of immediate reach of the cult, then we can go knocking on fucking Kegram's door.
Right. Go pay him a visit. Give him a neighborly welcome.
That was surprisingly well. I
Right.
was really worried they were going to be really openly aggressive and antagonistic, but it
Yeah.
was a nice surprise.
Yeah. At least one of them was.
Now we got to worry about the snake that she described.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Seems like he's probably in bed with the cult. Maybe not even because he believes in what the cult's doing, but because of the money that he can get out of it if he's working with Kegram.
Probably.
Right. So what we doing?
first things first. Once we get the party together by ourselves, I'm gonna preemptively ask Rose to contact our lizardfolk friends at the fort and to let them know that we're gonna have some allies coming there soon. We're gonna give them a code phrase,
Okay.
to prove that they're our allies, and to try to take care of them until we get back.
Okay. You just want me to send a sending to one of the lizard people?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to teleport our friends there and then they get jumped.
Yeah, that's fair. I just don't. I guess I know all of them technically because I saw them.
Yeah. Speak to the big guy with the tower shield. He'll probably be the leader, quote unquote.
With your familiar messaging versus sender. Yeah, I guess I don't see why not. All right. 1 second.
Just when they get in, don't immediately murder them, please.
Right? Yeah. Before I do that, you want them to have a code phrase? What?
Um, tell them that our allies will say, Lord Ascalon has granted us asylum.
I mean,
That's
they might just be cool with that either way. But yeah, I'll I don't know.
I'll just leave it to you.
The details of the message.
And I guess next order of business is: are we wanting to find an inn here or go back to the port? I mean, I figured it'd be faster for us to just sleep here. And it's just a
Yeah.
hop, skip, and jump to the seminar in the morning.
Yeah, I vote we just kind of stay here and we can dip out tomorrow after, we figure out where we're standing vis-a-vis prisoners and getting our boys potentially back onto the island. So,
Okay.
All right.
plus
So-
Rose might be able to see some of the kids she liberated, or they liberated.
Maybe they'll go to the same inn. Right. You guys are gonna find an inn here in the Temple District. It's late afternoon. Did you have any plans for the evening, or do you want to head towards long rest and tomorrow? What's the agenda for the Wanderers?
I want to draw up put like the invention I have Ascalon help me think up on
Mhm.
paper. So whenever I can get the funds and materials, I can go ahead and start building that.
Okay. All right. Doesn't even require a roll for this one. As you begin drawing out the schematics, it just sort of speaks through you these lines, and it's kind of beautiful in its elegance. It looks kind of like a scarab almost as you draw it out, and there's a like an indentation in the top of it where the gemstone can go, the diamond that fuels it, and like just symmetrical, like jagged lines of arcane energy that run around it. And the way it works is you basically put the diamond in it, and then it's ready to go. All you need to do is use the action to activate it, and you put it on whoever needs to revivify. But it just channels that specific magic. You'd guess that the diamonds can be interchanged. So once it's used, the diamond kind of breaks and then is converted into the magic, and then there's just a slot there.
So you just reload it?
Yeah. The base item itself is about 150 gold worth of materials for you to build.
Oh, bet.
Yeah. It's not particularly expensive to
I
make.
guess
Okay.
I guess while we're here though, Enos is probably gonna go look into getting a couple pinches worth of the ruby dust that way.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have a specific like gold amount of ruby dust you need
Yeah,
to have?
it's got to be a pinch of 1,500.
Okay. All right.
I was
15.
thinking maybe 2 or 3. That way,
Damn.
it's a little bit of money, but worst comes to worst, somebody is getting locked in a fucking cage.
Okay. So you're trying to. Okay, so it's 1 pinch worth 1,500 per casting of it. And you're trying to
Yeah.
get 2 or 3.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Roll me investigation, with advantage as you look around for the evening.
I appreciate that.
You guys
I have it. Thankfully, proficiency is applied, so it's not just like the one that it would be, but it's still only a 6.
I mean, 18's not bad either, and it I give the advantage because it's done over the entire evening. As you guys are out, you find an inn. It's a nice, quaint inn here in the Temple District. Rose sings a
I'm gonna have to use
song
2
for
spell
the
slots. For that.
tavern keeper.
But also, yes,
And-
I will get us free room and board.
Free room and board, easily done with a nice meal and pretty much bottomless drinks. All it requires is Rose to just provide a small bit of entertainment that evening, and they are more than happy to provide. You head out and you do find a few different, like, they're not necessarily magical item shops. Like, there's not nearly as much of that here. As you walk around, you see a lot more, like, construction stuff, other types of crafting, and like there's a lot of metal smithing that happens here. There's a lot of leather working as you kind of go through one of those districts in the steeps, and the smell just hits you. There's a lot of like weaving and people making tapestries and silks and linens and things, but there isn't a lot of enchanting. And you do find a couple of different booths that have like magical potions, but you're looking at it and you're like, wow, this is like, you thought that the selection in Lintier was not good compared to Iriabor, and this is like, wow, okay, all right, you do find what you're looking for. You find about it's really it's 2 rubies that are worth 5,000 gold. And as you talk to the proprietor there, he's trying to sell you on this beautiful set of earrings. And you're like, I don't really wear earrings. I just need the stones. And you're trying to convince him what you needed for it. You're talking to him like, I just need you to grind them up. And he's like, but that will destroy the beautiful artwork of these earrings. You're like, but I
Yes,
need to grind them up.
I
And
need the stones, not the art.
in the
They will
end,
literally be consumed with what I need them for.
right? You get 3 pinches for the required cost of 4,500. Given Eodos's charisma and how I could foresee that going down, so you can have 3 force cages, but it is 4,500.
I guess I'll get Derek. You said was it 130 gold to make like the housing for the item, revivify item?
Yeah, and your items are easier. You're looking for more base materials that are magically conducive, which is easier here. So you are able to, you can just go ahead and knock the gold off, and you have the materials needed to make that, and you know that it would probably take about an evening's worth of crafting time to make it. Might take more if you run into problems while building it. But if you wanted to roll a Tinker's tool check or whatever tools you have proficiency with to build it, you can see if you can get that done tonight.
Yeah, I'll try to roll, and then I guess while I'm like doing that, I can talk to Ascalon a little bit.
That's all you get in reply, Rose.
We will
Okay.
stay north.
They say okay.
Yep. It's
What
fun trying to
about
think
here for nobody? What are you guys getting into?
Trying to decide whether or not I want to which rapier to keep.
of.
The endless struggle.
In your looking around, Eodos and Ken, you would have noticed that the magical items here, there's not nearly as many, and the prices are about 30% higher than what you usually, like, potions are about 75 to 80 gold a piece. So it's definitely like a supply is low, demand has not changed here in this city situation.
So you might be able to.
We want to buy low at other towns, teleport here, and then sell high.
Right?
That's
Maybe you can
the
get more money
problem
for
with
your
the Sword
rapier.
Coast right now. Delivery.
Oh, I should probably like compounding like notes and stuff for the seminar. I'm not like free winging it.
What's the worst that can happen?
I improv 4 hours every week, man. Improv is great.
Touche.
Yes.
But yeah, like regardless of what Ken's doing, he would like to like have
Get
a
it
chat.
outlined. Chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nobody. Since I know Aerith is still debating.
Rose, help me.
I don't think nobody really needs to do or want anything, unless someone else needs help that they need another hand.
Okay. Let's see. What can
Aerith, which one's prettier?
I mean, they both are.
They
I
can't
don't. I
both
don't
be
know. I don't
good.
know how the intelligent one is.
the
is
intelligence
designed.
one? I mean, it's just a standard rapier. It's not anything fancy like the Radiant Dark. The blade is it's not like a round foil, but it's flat and comes to this just gradual point very, very slowly over its entire length. The crossguard around the handle is intricate with like these various think like the rapier from Princess Bride is kind of how I was envisioning it.
Okay.
It's kind of like
Filigree.
beautiful wrapped handguard with filigree on it, and then on the blade are just like etched runes. So it has this kind of simple nobleman's elegance to it. Like a weapon that you could either see sitting at someone's waist as they just want to look fancy, or it could actually have a place on the battlefield because it's magical. Whereas the Radiant Dark is like this crackling rapier of light and dark energy that's just sort of like shattering off each side when you draw it.
The real question is, do you want like armor alongside it or not? Because they're both super effective, you know.
Right? Do you still want to be like strong and use that, or would you like to put your armor or your tattoo armor back on?
I mean,
either way works. Since you can't use both, whichever one you don't want, we can sell. You know.
Yeah.
the only difference is
Or
that.
you can pick up dual. You can pick up dual wielder. You can start dual wielding.
I was about to say, just use both of them. Dual wield rapiers.
That's gonna be a lot of training.
Probably.
Yeah, that would be tricky.
We believe in you.
I don't think blade singing would allow that.
No, you have to have your
No,
offhand
yeah.
free.
Yeah.
So basically, do you like high AC, or do you like being a punch wizard? They're both pretty dope.
Right?
Can't really
Both got
fault you
merits.
for either one. Yeah.
Because if I go back to my tattoo, then I would technically have higher AC.
Mhm.
Technically, yes. You could also give the belt to Ken if you wanted to use it, and you'd have an open attunement slot again. Although that would be your tattoo, I guess.
Mhm.
But
But you don't have to.
right,
We
it really
do,
just
we do
depends.
got the belt. It's mainly just so we can kind of plan for what to do with the spare. Because both of those
Mhm.
things, now that we know it's expensive out here, this is the perfect place to try to sell something that would be
Right.
pricey normally and get an even better price. You know.
I'm sure I can help you get a good price on it.
You know what? I will sell the Radiant Dark, get my tattoo back, and just have the Intelligence Rapier.
Okay. So as Aerith, you step out into the city to find your buyer. Roll me an investigation at advantage.
Rose, go along. You
Yeah,
gotta go, Rose.
yeah. Rose is
Rose is with
definitely
him. Okay,
with Aerith.
Rose
Okay.
is our dedicated haggler. That's what they do. They are silver tongued. You know.
I was
Yep,
so out of
exactly.
it earlier because I had a headache. Now it's fading, so thank God.
Oh,
Ibuprofen.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, ibuprofen.
Yeah.
feel it. You
This stream sponsored by ibuprofen. Type code.
200 milligrams of ibuprofen. Circle K. A.
But you head out into the steeps, this kind of large market area off the temple district, and Rose seems to be more familiar with this city than you would have expected, as they just sort of move as a part of it, leading you through. You ask a few people, and they point you towards a few like curio shops and random pawn shops and places that
Mhm.
might be able to facilitate. You look in, it's not the right place, and you finally, after about an hour of walking around the city and looking in places, you push through a large tent. It's just sort of this big, almost yurt-like tent set up on the corner of one of the market areas, and you push in, and there are just sort of rugs and tapestries, and you get this. You both can feel the magic in here, and you both go, okay, this is where I'm
Whoa.
supposed to be. This is it.
Hell yeah.
Okay. This is an actual magic stall. It's not a
Hell yeah.
shop, but it's a stall.
Big
On the
time
opposite
stuff.
side, sitting on top of a very, very large pile of boxes behind a counter is probably the shortest gnome you've ever seen. This wizened old little gnome woman who's sitting there reading a book, and as you push in with the curtains and take in the scents and kind of vibe of the magical bric-a-brac in here, she looks up through thick, thick goggled glasses. Oh, hello, how can I help you? And she kind of hops down, and for a moment, she disappears entirely from sight behind the counter before you hear like tap, 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 and she runs out from the other side of the counter. How can I help you today?
We have been looking all day for just the person.
My feet hurt.
Isn't that exciting? What can I do for you today? What can I offer you?
I wave my hand
Oh.
out and summon the Radiant Dark. Because it's
Less
technically
what
my
you can
packed
offer
weapon.
us,
It's technically my packed
and
weapon.
more what we can offer you.
Interesting. So you're looking to sell today, hmm?
I mean, first of all, we're looking to sell, but we may be looking to buy as well, depending on what's around. Wanted to at least get your eye on this before we started looking.
Yes. All right. Let me see. Well, I can tell that it is currently attuned. You will have to break that before we
That's
do
fine.
any transactions. Yes, I know how
Of
you
course.
are. You adventurous. Okay. Let's see. Let me look up the Radiant Dark.
It should still be in the chat.
Oh my gosh.
In our chat. I was like, I don't think I put the details in Tyranny. I think I only put the picture in Tyranny.
Rose, as she's like looking at it, will tell her just
There it is.
just fantastical tales about what we've done with this weapon and how much of a boon it's been.
And I would explain the details of it, how not only does it function as a normal rapier, but it can also, have the additional damage of radiant or necrotic, and then the additional spells that it can offer as well.
Hey, interesting. All right. Seems to have a decent amount of magic in it. Yes, and interesting in the story. She kind of like leans back. Let me see. I could offer you 2,000 gold pieces for it.
2,000? My lady.
It's a very
You
rare
obviously know.
item.
This is worth much, much more than that.
Roll me a, let's see, because like, yeah, roll me a persuasion. Because the icon that I have for it is rare. Aurora.
Yeah, the rarity variations are on the Patreon, and the very rare one, the only difference is that it has a DC of 16 plus 8 to hit, and the additional spells are Bestow Curse and Remove Curse, I think.
27 again.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's the difference.
Kind of like, okay, so it's very rare. All right. Right, I thought it was rare, so that's what the price is. Okay. Well, looking at it, she looks at it. Kind of it's gonna seem like a big jump because I'm trying to make the
Yeah,
very
whatever her
rare.
baseline was before, like Rose still would have haggled it up.
Yeah, so very rare baseline. She probably would have gone with 55. She'll kind of like look at it and look at you, look at Aerith, who's still explaining how all the various things it does.
Right. They'll also be like, and I mean, I know how hard trade has been to come by these days, how
Yes.
awful the lines are. I really don't think you'd be able to get something like this.
Probably sell
At least not now.
quickly. 7,500.
Wait. Oh, okay. I was just like, oh, wait. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm still reeling back from my headache.
No.
I mean, out of game is that. Are you looking for more? I don't know how much you paid for this in the first place because you had it when you came back to life.
Yeah, I don't think we discussed that.
No, it was. Thought it was discussed. But it's
It's like
I'm not gonna worry about it.
I don't remember.
You owe your mom. Just remember you owe your mom.
I have the sapphires for it.
You owe your mom so much money.
Shut up. I just need to
Rose-
send someone. I'll send my familiar back to Lintier.
Rose will. Yes, with a giant bag of money. But Rose will will. What about an even 8?
8 and even 8 even. Fine.
Okay.
But I call it not this radiant dark, the starlight blade.
I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Good. Can definitely make my money back. Yes. Okay. And she kind of like scurries off, carrying this weapon that's as tall. Like it's a solid normal rapier, and it's probably longer than she is tall. She actually kind of scurries back to you and goes, I need you for an hour, actually. Break this attunement.
Relax. Question for the tattoos: do I re-attune to it, or do I need to go back to a tattoo parlor?
No, you can just reattune to it.
Okay.
It just takes an hour to attune to it. So you guys would have to sit here for an hour in which she will not let you leave until you have unattuned to this.
Then I will
That's fine.
find a chair and sit down.
Just while you do that, Rose will go looking for anything interesting then.
Roll me a investigation. Let me see how interesting we have to get with it.
And I need to unequip my armor.
Did you want to sell the armor?
No, I'm going to keep
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I'll just put it in my bag of
For the
holding.
memory, the memento of it.
Right.
I mean, it can be used for other things.
And you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
A lot of materials into it.
Let's see. Oh, didn't mean to close roll 20.
Oh, goodbye. Oh, there he goes. There goes his
Bye-bye.
nameplate.
Gotta
Yep. I wish I could bardic inspiration myself.
go.
Kind of
It's very
unfortunate that you can't do that.
Right? Why
Yeah,
can't I bardic
I
inspiration
think-
myself? Why can't I hype myself up?
I think the only subclass that kinda does that is College of Spirits, because you're not giving a bardic inspiration, you're just giving a random ass buff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you count that, College of Swords can do it too, because you use your bardic inspiration to do basically battle maneuvers.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You giving yourself stuff. Technically.
Technically.
We all just need to be
Weird.
bards.
It's weird you can't be your own hype man, you know?
Right? If anyone
think
could hype
it's-
themselves up, it would be Rose.
I think it's because you're charismatic enough.
Let's see.
And for other things, not just charisma. Like if I could add a D10 to that investigation roll, that'd be great.
That's true.
Tell myself to look harder.
What do you see with your special eyes?
What do you see? What do you see? That's a good question. All right. So, as you look around, she has a couple of like cloaks. There's a dagger off to one side, a belt that seems to have like what looks like bandoliers kind of hanging from it. Um, there's like what looks like you kind of pick up this little woven wristband that looks like it's like leather, or maybe it's made out of some sort of like horsehair, but it's like one of those woven friendship bracelet type things.
Interesting.
But you're just sort of like as Aerith unattunes to the item here, you're kind of just poking around and
Mm-hmm. Anything that
Yeah,
seems high magic, and I'll bring it to her and like ask what it is if it seems like it might be strong.
all right. Let's see. The strongest one, the one that has had the biggest impact
Yeah,
to you,
just whatever
is
the strongest one is.
the cloak. It's like a full over the shoulders hood cloak, like dusty brown with these like bronze clasps around the front. Um, and as you ask her about it, she goes, "Oh, yes, well, while you're wearing that, the heat doesn't affect you nearly as much. And if you attack a certain number of times per day, whenever you attack, or are attacked, you can force a creature to have to make that attack roll again.
Okay, interesting.
But it's here, I'll just read it because it says this
Mhm.
asymmetrical cloak is typically worn by desert nomads in place of more durable armor. While wearing the cloak, you have resistance to fire damage. Any critical hit against you becomes a normal hit. The cloak also has
Damn.
4 charges. Yeah, I didn't read that part when I skimmed through it. 4 charges and regains 1d4 expended charges daily at dawn. When a creature within 5 feet of you hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to expend 1 charge to force it to re-roll the attack.
Damn.
That's pretty cool. It's like an
Right.
alternate cloak of displacement.
Mhm.
With
Yeah, I
more
was about
benefit.
to say I'm kind of like full up on cloak slots, but that one's pretty cool too.
In this room right now, what does this one do?
I wish you could attune to more than 3 things.
Right.
Artificers need to share the love, dude.
Share with the party.
The dagger that you're holding or that you picked up, you ask her about that one, and she goes, "Oh, yes, that's pick and pocket. That one's a fun one. That one was sold to me. If you use it, it operates just like any other dagger, but you can also use it as a lockpick, and it basically provides a +1 bonus to any lockpicks with thieves' tools if you
Interesting.
use the dagger with it."
Speaking of, does she happen to have a since it's a magic shop? What are they? The thieves' gloves? I really
Um,
like those.
Let's see.
I can't remember what they're called.
I think it's just thieves' gloves.
Are
Maybe
they?
because they're
Am I
the gloves
spelling
of
it wrong?
thievery. Gloves of thievery.
Yeah, gloves. Yes, because I know those are awesome, and they're also not attunement.
Yeah, I mean, let me actually,
Just an
'cause we are
uncommon
in
item.
Boulder's Gate. Let me see.
Do you have a broom of flying?
Let's see. Let me roll a d20 for that. I think I do. I think I have one. Yeah. And she kind of like goes into the back behind this like straight, flat piece of fabric that just sort of cuts the whole tent, the back quarter of it, off into like a storage room. And she comes out. She does have a broom of flying, and she does actually have gloves of thievery too.
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
I rolled really well on both those d20s. So.
Oh, yes.
While she goes into the back rows, you turn around and you see a magic item that it literally just looks. It looks almost like a face mask. Okay, except it's just the bottom half of the mask, and it kind of like straps around the bottom half of your jaw and looks like a beard.
Uh,
You need to get it. You gotta.
You kind of like pick
What?
it up and you look at it, and I'm just gonna
I have to know what
Yeah.
this is.
What?
She walks back and sees you. Oh, you found Leatherbeard. Ah,
Yeah.
that's just a fun
Leatherbeard?
little one that I like to make
Ooh.
every now and then. They're just fun.
Oh, this
What
is
does it do?
this is
While
Griffin.
wearing
love
the
it.
mask, while wearing the mask, you grow an illusory beard. You choose the color and
Oh.
style of the beard each time you wear the mask. The beard can be up to 2 feet long. A DC
Oh,
10
Jesus.
intelligence check reveals the beard is an illusion. For every 7 consecutive days that pass in which you do not remove the mask, there is a cumulative 25% chance that the beard becomes real.
Oh
When
my
it does, the
God.
mask is destroyed.
Oh my god.
The real beard does not continue to grow unless you can already naturally grow a beard.
So if you wear it for 4 days, you guarantee a dope beard.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you just keep it on.
Is it? I mean,
wants
I
a beard?
don't. Right,
Eric,
I don't want to wear it
get you a
personally, but I
dope
feel like I
beard.
have to buy it.
Get you a dope beard, Eric.
Now,
Yes.
You can
Can it be
braid
like
it,
any
dude.
type?
Come on.
Can you get like a mustache?
I can already braid my hair. Stop it.
You could braid your hair into your beard.
No, no.
Yeah. All right, how much
Just
is
saying
it
that
for
I don't
the?
like dwarves.
How much for the broom, the gloves, and the leather beard?
All of it.
Jesus.
400 gold pieces.
You know what? You were such a doll before it sold.
I like
do
her.
that. I won't even haggle for it.
She's like little old lady Dumas. I really like this little novel.
Right?
Yeah, there are still some. I mean,
Yeah, I also,
found a
like, I don't know if I can afford it, but I wanted to know what the price on the cloak was.
The cloak would be 12,000 because that's
Yeah. Okay.
it's up
I
there.
figured.
12,000?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, if we pooled our money together right now, we could probably afford it because you just got 8K, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's worth that much to me.
What kind of cloak you wearing right now?
The displacer cloak.
Oh,
Cloak of displacement.
yeah.
Because, like, I do.
Kind of hard to give that up.
Right. I do like the fact that you just can't get crit with the other one, though.
Yeah, that is really dope.
Apparently.
And you kind of get to choose when you want it to be a cloak of displacement because you can
Right.
use the thing to make it a disadvantage. So
But you only get 4 charges. If I did that, would I have immunity to fire damage if I had my tattoo set to fire or not? Because they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they're both coming from items.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but you could have the fire resistance
right.
from the cloak and then another resistance
And
from
then
your
something
tattoo.
else, yeah.
Is there anything nobody wanted to do while Rose is thinking? I know you said no earlier. I just feel bad because it's just a shopping episode, so
Nah,
shopping and politics.
Right.
Get in,
I had
loser. We're going
everything.
shopping.
Nobody has everything he wants.
Okay.
Plus, he's broke.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
did.
have a good night though, as you wander the streets and kind of take in the various sights and sounds of civilization. Actually, give me a wisdom saving throw for nobody, just to get a gauge.
Oh, what? I am concerned.
No.
What's there to be
Why
concerned
do I
about?
roll so bad?
You've
What's up with your
never
rolls?
Right.
been in a city like this here in the Sword Coast, but you've been in cities, and you know that. like walking through these streets, you find yourself moving through the alleys almost instinctually. Like, not that you know this city, but you know how alleyways, even the ones that are just like canted at weird angles, how they kind of lead into each other. So there's like this innate kind of familiarity. You wander streets and check out some like some vendors, unable to really purchase anything. You just smell the sweet smells of, street food, and hear the sounds of people just going about a busy and energetic day. And as you look around, there's just this moment where every building around you shifts, and it turns from the stone and wood and kind of thatched roofs here of Baldur's Gate, this like always building and expanding feeling, to something that looks like it had been carved like from ice itself. The buildings begin to glitter and sparkle. There's this almost illuminality that comes out of them that just like pushes into your mind for a second, and it feels very, very familiar. And then you blink and the city is back to what it was. You take in those sights and smells, and they kind of like roar back in as you take in the perception again. But that memory of that other city, this other place, built similarly, but out of glass and metal.
Maybe I do need to remove the metal chunk out of my head.
You reach up and you kind of like touch it, and it doesn't hurt, but maybe. All right, what you doing, Rose?
Okay, so Aerith, if I give you my cloak of displacement, will you give me the money I got for the sword?
Like the full 8K?
Yes, because I'm gonna need it.
Let's see. I need to recount my items just to be sure. So I have the tattoo.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to use it, but like we can hold on to it,
The
and I
fang.
can give it to you just for.
Well, okay. Will the rapier have to be an attunement?
If you want to use your intelligence, there has to be that kind of trade of magic to get the knowledge from the masters in there. You could just use it as a rapier, but it would just be a +1 rapier.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to use it then, because I have Bahamut's Truth, I have the tattoo,
Yeah, I know
and then the
we're all
rapier.
kind of
Yeah.
full up on everything.
Ken,
but-
give me your 4th attunement slot.
That's what we all need to get the trait from Artificer. Look, we need to get somebody get the wish spell and wish us all to be able to attune 4 things.
I won't be able to do that because I can't get it.
Yeah,
My
I mean,
current-
you don't have to use the cloak either way, but I do need your money.
And here I was just like, finally, I'll have money.
Psych.
Oh,
You thought
bet you don't. This is payment for stuff. I mean, if you really want it, sure, I'll give you the money.
No,
That'd be pretty cool.
and if y'all need money too, whenever we get back, Eidos just has that money from whenever we scalped all that from the other time. It's not like this is his money. Like, if y'all
Yeah.
need anything, he's still got a good after that 4,500, he's still got like $6,000 on him right now. So,
Right. It's just unfortunately you're not here with us.
Yeah, but like, if you give Rose all your money, with money replace it if you need something. That's what I mean. That way you don't have to feel bad about spending money. You know.
Mhm.
Right, that's true. We'll give you some back.
I focus. I will unclick. Wait, unclick Belt of Fire Giant Strength. Oh, my strength took a massive dip.
Yup.
Yup.
It goes from 25 to 7.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Are you sure this is the rapier you wanted?
Holy. I didn't realize you had a 7.
Oh no, it was very bad.
Oh,
Yeah, apparently.
Man.
You need to stay inside when the wind's blowing, dude.
Now I'm starting to rethink. I was just like, was it always 7?
I don't
Eric
know.
over there weaker than our fucking Pokemon trainers.
No joke.
Apparently.
Luckily, you're not like an actual strength-based character. But like, man, I didn't realize. I thought you had like maybe a 9.
Right.
I thought it was higher.
Lowest-
Was it always a
lowest back
7?
out
It
of
was
the
always
nine,
it was a
but-
negative. I know it was a negative because having
But
you roll
how
athletics and
negative?
stuff was always fun.
I thought you had a 9.
I need to go back on my videos just to double check. now.
You could check your videos. That would be a good place because I'm not saying that you did, but I also don't know Aerith's stats. So
I knew
Right.
you had a negative that because it was
Yeah.
always funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was
But
a
was it
7.
that
Could
bad?
be wrong. Yeah.
I mean, knowing my rolls, it would be pretty bad, but I need to.
I mean,
I
at
need to.
least strength saves aren't very common. So
Mhm. Unless you're fighting Robert.
But
yeah, unless you fight Robert.
it's okay. He's got a broom of flying now. He can stay up and out of the way.
Yeah.
If I need
I don't know
to,
about
but
that.
that doesn't really work
If you
for
need
blade
to.
singing.
I mean,
Nope. It's so okay. So I went back to the third video on my channel, which is the canceled rose, which was our black dragon fight.
Oh, hell yeah.
So yes, it's correct. I've always had a 7.
Always had a 7, Greg. Ooh.
all right. Before we do anything though, are you sure that's the rapier you wanted to stick with?
Now I'm starting to have second.
It's up to you because you're not a strength-based character. It is
Yeah.
entirely
It
your fault.
doesn't-
I mean, we could
The only reason
probably
it
get your
matters-
character to work out.
Yeah, the only reason it mattered was because you lost the intelligence rapier because you died and refused to come back when your friends tried to get you up.
Yeah.
But like,
You definitely don't need it.
but yeah, like it's entirely up to you. You don't have to have a good strength score at all. Everybody like the party can compensate for each other.
Mhm.
I'm
Not
a
enough you
blade
guys are
singer
nervous.
though. This is the.
Yeah, but what do you need strength for a blade singer?
I mean, that's the thing. Like that was the reason why I was looking for
Yeah.
a rapier that didn't require dexterity or strength because my dexterity is at a 1 and my strength is worse than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
you're
so if you
fully,
stick with your
fully good to
blade.
use your Like you don't have to be like everybody doesn't have to be good at everything. That's kind of why we cover for each other. So
Mhm.
like even though it's a 7, that is rough to
Mhm.
think about. It is fully workable. Like none of us are gonna fault you for it. Especially if you like having your tattoo with your AC. Like we
Yeah,
are right there for you,
because
dog.
Yeah, and your blade singing AC, like
Yeah.
that'll cover you for 99% of whatever we need to do.
because with blade song and shield, my AC is just it goes up to a 28. So
I hate it.
So it'll definitely like you don't need strength.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was mostly just joking.
So then the belt will 100% go to Ken because I think.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it'll work with him better. Unless
but here's
Eidos
the
wants
thing.
it.
No, there's nothing strength wise. Like everything is
Charisma.
borrowed power from the road. Yeah, so I'm good. But no, now that you don't have strength, you gotta wear the leather beard because they gotta think you're at least strong. and see a
I
massive
am not going to be an elf wearing pink
With
I
a
mean,
With
could
a
make
beard.
You could make it a pink beard. You could
Right?
choose the color.
I
Have like a-
know.
It could be a rainbow beard for all you care.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, this
it
is
could
just
be.
going back to Illumine and Icewind Dale with the rainbow hair. I am not wearing
either
the
way-
beard.
Either
Elves
way,
don't
you
have
gotta
beards.
make a
I'm not
try.
wearing the beard.
Hey,
you gotta make them think you're like intimidating, and when they see a beard, even if it's like a rainbow, a pastel gradient, even if it was just neon pink, they see an elf with a long beard and a rapier
Oh,
running,
God.
at them, they're gonna think twice about whatever they were about to do.
Waiting on anyone.
Was this from the Griffin saddlebag, or was this?
it is. I didn't
Okay.
realize that
Oh,
the
yeah.
website that I'm on, it's just random items from the Griffin saddlebag, and
That's
they're
amazing.
all
I
amazing.
recognize the shading and the art, so I was just like, "This is homebrewed.
Right.
This is 100% homebrewed."
Yep. Here, another one that just randomly came up is Magic Pocket. It's just.
I've always questioned why I'm not one of their patrons on Patreon, but I'm already paying a lot with who I currently follow, so I'll just keep it as is.
Money.
But they
Let's
post
just-
everything. They post everything on their Reddit anyway, so and Instagram.
Let's just start dabbling in alchemy and start combining magic items together. We're kind of already going that way with all the
Little bit.
monster stuff. Let's just patch that cloak of displacement into something.
I won't
Just
say it's
shove it
not
into my
possible.
tattoo.
I mean,
Can
we've done
we-
some crazy shit
Can
with
we
magic.
cannibalize the cloak and stuff it into our artifacts? Can we apply some
Ooh.
cloak shit into like
Hey.
whatever everybody has right now? What is everybody's? I don't remember. I know because I know mine's a sword. What did Ken get? What did Rose? Rose is the chakram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was Aerith's?
Mine
remember what
was
His
like a.
arcane file.
It's called the File of Arcana Doctrine, and it's like a crystal / potion kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a charm.
A charm,
Nice.
basically.
Yeah.
And nobody's a gourd, right?
Yeah, I got a magic
He
water
doesn't-
bottle.
Yeah. He has like a
Let's just try to stuff the cloak of displacement into each one of these items and split sticks. So let's see what happens.
Just smashing them together and like,
Right.
yeah, it's gotta work.
One of them
Yes,
is
do
gonna absorb
something.
it. We're full up on items, but we keep getting cool shit. We gotta use them, you know.
But Aerith, give me your money.
Yes.
All right. Rose will go to the shopkeep just like, all right, thought a lot about it, and that cloak is pretty nice.
Really
Can
cool.
I convince you 10,000? And since you seem to be a little bit of a leather worker yourself, at least you've got some really cool leather things, I have some, and they'll pull out like 5 or 6 square feet of black dragon hide.
Okay, roll me a persuasion check.
Rose is gonna come back in a Sephiroth coat.
The persuasion?
Now, are you offering the hide up like
25.
it's trade?
Yes, for the 2K that we're missing, because I only have, even with Aerith's money, I have 2,000, so I only have 10K.
She kind of like looks over. Oh, I don't make the stuff here. I just sell it, but I do know who makes it, and that could
Right.
be.
Could definitely get some cool things made out of this.
10,000.
Cool. I spend all of that and some of the half of Black Dragon.
What's another griffin?
I told you the website I'm on. It's just generating everything that's in her.
Uh.
It's just a Griffin saddlebag random generator. But I just Googled it and was like, oh, okay, it's cool.
Alright, I don't know how to add any of this stuff in. I guess I could just add it as like a.
I would
item
add it
and then-
as like an item and then put it in your features and traits, the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I usually do. I have so many things now. God. Can you type that out into one of the places just so I can copy and paste the name of it
Oh.
or the description as well? Like if you have it open,
I can get back to it.
because I can't copy it on
I
the
know.
picture.
'Cause it's just an image.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain's just not. Yeah.
Like, oh.
Huh?
I said, I like how you're like, oh.
Oh no. All right. That
All right.
I did.
So, Ken, you were. Go ahead and roll me your. Did you ever roll me your Tinker's tools or whatever tool check you were using for your your item you're building tonight?
There technically is, but it's still under.
Oh,
I think it's
I
under.
didn't mean to roll that
homebrew.
again.
You're good. Okay. Within the night's work, you do have your revivify. What do I want to call it? Kind of like a paddle almost. Yeah, it's the revivify defibrillator, or however you want to name it. The creation of the artifact, the item itself, didn't include the diamonds. You'll still have to load the 300 gold diamond in for it to function. And it works once a day, and you can just use it. The magic, the spell in it will just recharge once a day. You can just have that as an emergency. You don't need to have it in order. You don't need to know the spell in order to use it. Anyone can just use it.
That's pretty neat.
Do manage to get that built in. I'll
Yeah.
type out how that
You
works.
said it
this
looked
week.
like scarabs, correct?
It looks like what?
You said they look like scarabs?
Yeah, it's just one. It's just like it's flat and it has this kind of like hunched, so almost like a mouse like over the top, and then at the top of it there's a divot where you can put the gem in, and like the bottom has these kind of like little notches that get pushed up against the target, and you hold it with like your hand up there.
Yeah, I'll just call it like a platinum defibrillator.
Defibrillator, yeah. And you just and
I forgot how to spell defibrillator.
Fit. No, I'm kidding.
Defibrillator.
I hate English.
right. Yeah. So, Ken, having concluded his building and experimentation in your nice and lavish suite here within, let me go ahead and randomly generate up a tavern within the Tinted Cuckoo.
Tinted Cuckoo. Yes.
The dinner was served a kind of like, it almost looked like a cheeseburger, except that there aren't really cheeseburgers, but it was that just ground beef, cheese, vegetables on some cut bread that was provided for you guys with some like ale and other side dishes, some sauteed vegetables. Ken concludes his crafting. Rose, you entertain the patrons in the main hall for an hour or so before you have earned the crew's keep, telling tales and stories. What story do you tell? Is it a new one?
Yeah, they'll make up like a new fantastical one about the astral sea.
Okay.
Just about how like weird and different everything is there.
All right. You tell the story of the prisoner's dilemma and entrance the people for an hour or so while they feast the tavern keeper. Give me a charisma check. Just because I know that like your Class feature.
Natural
Okay.
20.
Absolutely. The
I
Tavern
even make
Keeper
some
is.
money.
I was going to say, you do actually make some money. He does
Oh,
give you
fuck
20
yes.
gold.
Oh
Because
boy, 20 gold.
you had brought in and provided a very, very entertaining experience. I think it's like the second or third natural 20 you've done on one of these.
Maybe we
Using
haven't done this in a long time. We haven't been
using
in an inn.
mhm, your minor magics and small cantrips, you dim lights and boom your voice and bring things and crescendos and entertainment. And when you finally bow at the end of your tale, the people are applauding and people are talking about it, and you leave the stage feeling very, very good about yourself. Those of you that wanted to watch have observed as Rose told a rather embellished version of the story of your journey into the astral sea. It was from their perspective, but they were with you and rescuing like a lost damsel in distress who was captured by the evil Githyanki. It was definitely touched by Rose. You guys enjoy your evening. Nobody, you wander the streets questioning what has brought you here, where you've been, where you're from, and where you will go before finally heading back to the inn, joining up with the rest, and you guys get your long rest for the evening, awakening the next morning with the intent to go to the High Hall and give a lecture on
And get her.
artificery and magical enchantments in the current age. Go ahead, give me an intelligence check too, Ken.
Can I forgot to mention this because I was out of
Oh,
Oh, no.
it.
fucking thing is,
But can I? I was about to say, can I like help? Because as a wizard and a sage, I can explain how magic is if they don't
Okay.
already know.
That is actually very appropriate. As you come back, Aerith, that night, Ken is looking over his notes and he's beaming with like something just short of pride of how he's kind of explained all this, and you look it over and the use of the explanation of mana circuits and everything, it doesn't synchronize with how you understand magic. Ken, go give me another intelligence check. As Aerith
Am
sits
I
down with you,
there to bardic inspiration as well?
I will let you bardic inspiration as well. Yeah, go ahead and roll me a d10. As your party kind of sits down,
As we try
this
to help you.
familiarity with how magic works in the greater world. You know artificery and you know it really well, but this is very foreign to the way that magic works. It's very foreign to the way that Aerith and Rose use it. Aerith from this kind of intellectual understanding the deeper roots of magic, and Rose from this instinctual born and literally a living piece of magic. The three of you managed to outline it's about page and a half, maybe 2 pages. It's not like a detailed speech. It's kind of what you had started building, this kind of like blocky, typing everything out word for word, and it wasn't really, or writing it out word for word, really wasn't working out because it lacked that informality of just talking. And that's what Rose kind of helps you get it ready. So you three spend a few hours and get Ken a syllabus for his TED Talk at the High Hall tomorrow that shows an understanding of classical magic, a introduction to artificery and the basic concepts of it, and how one and the other can live in harmony and work together. And by the end of it, you're definitely feeling a lot more confident than you had started. Well, you started feeling confident until you had kind of given your pitch to Aerith, and Aerith was like, "What?" And you know Aerith is a smart guy, and you're like, "Oh no, oh no."
Oh.
Rework this. Let's take it to the workshop real quick.
Take it from the
You and your
top.
friends get there in the end. Before you long rest, is there anything else anyone wants to do?
I wanted to chat with Ascalon. I mean, not like actually like talking it out, but you know, just
Meditation.
like yeah.
Definitely do that. He is Affectionate but distant at the same time. He's kind of as you reach out and discuss the current state of the world, he doesn't pass judgment on a lot of things. He listens and tries to offer his insights, but he expresses to you that you have chosen to take this fight, and it is your choices that matter now. If those choices threaten the grandest scheme of things, like if your choices start to seriously fail, he assures you that he's there to help, but he wants you to follow your path because that's what you fought for. That's what your friends fought for.
And I appreciate it. And I'm trying my best to, continue on that path. I mean,
Oh yeah, he's not judgment at all. He's not like upset that you're talking to him. If anything, he's pleased, and the efforts of the day and talking to the nobles was definitely something he approved of. The path that you chose was a noble one.
I
He
mean,
just
I
doesn't
want
want you feeling like you have to run every decision by him, you know? He
Yeah.
wants you to feel confident in your own strength and the strength of your friends.
Yeah.
Maybe not Rose. Definitely not Rose. Rose makes questionable decisions,
Ouch,
but
Ascalon.
and
Yeah,
Rose, you had
I get it.
you had one
Yes,
more thing you wanted to say.
I wanted to see the party pool of excess magical items because for some reason I seem to be down a attunement item and have a open slot.
What are you attuned to?
Well, I was attuned to the mask.
Oh, that's right. You were attuned to the mask, weren't you?
Yeah, and I can't wear another cloak, so I can't wear the displacement cloak as well.
Right.
So if anyone had,
a second great sword if you wanna swing around that.
Oh
I just
yeah,
didn't know if I know everyone's
can-
got like stuff they can't wear. Does anybody have anything that's like they're not using?
I mean,
I
do you want to be
can
super
make you
strong?
something.
I thought Ken wanted that.
I actually
yeah.
do have. I picked up that ring of protection. We got a ring of protection +2.
My bad.
That's right, you do.
Yeah, I've got it. I don't have it equipped because I'm attuned, but it's here. That's the only excess item I have. If you don't want a big ass greatsword.
You got
That's
bracers
definitely-
of archery if you want to shoot shit.
Well, not quite my style, but I appreciate it.
I could make you jet boots.
Well, if you give Rose jet boots, you'd either have to craft them or give up your jet boots.
I'm not giving up my jet boots. I'll make them.
Yeah, you'd have to craft them.
I'm alright on that.
Uncommon wouldn't take that long, actually. Maybe like a day, maybe 2. But yeah,
For now, I'll go. I'll take the ring.
heck
That
yeah.
actually won't be too bad.
Yeah. What level of rarity is wing boots?
Uncommon.
Uncommon.
So it'll take me a
Surprisingly.
quarter of the time and half the gold to make those.
And so it's like
Right.
day or 2, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, they're a little not quite Rose's style, unfortunately.
I can flavor them to fit your aesthetic.
Yeah, he'd go hand you that ring for sure. Because I had actually meant to sell it, so it kind of works out that I completely forgot it was in the inventory. So
So it's a ring of protection plus
+2. So +2. It's actually a bigger one than we normally do. Had.
right?
Yeah, up
So
until
how
recently,
I
nobody had the slots for it, and now that Ken's got 4, the belts for him, so
right.
free game.
All right.
So how much
yeah,
does it do if it's a +2?
It's still, I mean, it's +2 to your AC. It's like a ring of protection, but an extra, because it's technically I think something from Pathfinder, but I'll just modify it on yours.
It says additional AC and saving throws.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since it's like the base one is +1 on both of those, then a +1 would be more, and then a +2 would be more, or is it just
There is no
just the
+1. It just
+2?
goes
Okay,
+2. Yeah.
+2 on the stuff itself.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but
Either
look at
way, hell yeah.
whew, that no.
Either
3
way,
AC
hell
and
yes.
saving throws? Hell yeah.
Yeah. That's a +10 to your dex save now.
Yep.
Jeez.
12 to charisma.
Oof.
Who would we
Yeah.
have to talk to about fucking with that cloak though? Because I was joking about it, but now I kind of want to see if we can do something with it.
I mean, the best people that would be like Manon, probably the best suited
Yeah,
to be
we'd
able
have
to
to go
do
back to Erebor.
fine, magical work like that. But that's what he does, is he makes intricate and powerful magical weaves.
We could definitely talk to him. I'm sure we'll be back there because you wanted to keep working on your armor and stuff,
Yeah,
or your cloak or whatever.
I need to go back because we kind of had to not do most of what I was trying to get done because we were kind of on
Yeah.
a time crunch and we need to get Aerith's armor, which you could repurpose that armor now. You got materials on that you could put other places.
I can maybe put the materials that I used on my armor into my tattoo.
Yeah.
Though right now it's only 2 things, which is fire and cold resistance.
We'll see, because the armor uses scales and hide, but the tattoos are blood purely. Yep.
We
still
can
have some
grind
blood.
them down into
into blood. Or
just
Alright.
like into a material
I don't know
that'll
about that. But
that we can liquefy.
We could
Blood.
get there when we get to Erebor. For now,
I
you guys
still
have
have green blood. I've still got white blood. And
Can I get the green blood
Red blood.
first because I died from it? Technically.
yeah. And I've got black. I have almost all of the blood except for blue, I think, still left over.
Because we did kill one, we didn't carve its body, and yeah.
Yeah, that was before we started butchering the corpses of the dragons, really.
I gotta get the fucking black blood added in. So
Yeah,
my
I've got regular black dragon blood, not the ancient.
I gotta get that added in because I don't have right now. I think that's the only resistance I don't have from the dragons. And I mean it's poison resistance, so it's not like it's a normal resistance anyway. But I think that should
Black
be the
is
last.
The
acid.
black is acid.
Well, then I need the green because I've got acid.
Okay, I've got green as well, and I actually have possibly. I think I already gave you a vial of green dragon blood. Actually, I have in my notes that you have one of them.
Yeah, I was gonna use it when we went, but then Aerith had to have
We didn't have
something made.
time.
I said, yeah.
Okay, got it. So yeah, that's allocated already to you whenever you need it.
That should be the last one out of like those because cold lightning, acid fire, and poison. Is there another one?
I think that was it.
Okay.
Besides,
But
like, Ken has necrotic, but his sword was special.
Yeah, that was Dracolich.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Radiant, well, no, I can't remember. Anyway, I think this is a good place to leave it for this week with the end of the
We
first
get
day.
a long rest. Do any of us get accosted at night?
Let's see. Let me think.
Mostly talking about myself, I suppose.
Not tonight. Rose, you get your long rest.
Hell yeah.
Me do roll for that. Nope. Always. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah,
Robert wakes you
each-
all up in the middle of the night.
No.
No.
You each get your long rests and awaken the next morning to the sounds of a city bustling to life in the late hours of the dawn. Um, you are able to gather up your things and head towards the High Hall, and I think we'll pick up back up at the High Hall next week if everyone's cool with that.
Yep.
Yep.
All
Hell
right.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
And we
Yeah,
might
that
not
was-
have to do a prison break.
Yeah, you
Holy shit,
made a
guys.
pretty good ally there. She was definitely like listening to what you were saying. That was some like I knew Ken had a +1 to his persuasion, and it was still a DC 20.
2 19s and a 20.
I
That was
know.
crazy.
It was insane. So I
Hell
was just like,
yeah.
I saw it, and I was like, okay, well, then the dice know, okay, and it was fun. It was cool.
Hell yeah, dude. Everything worked out.
It did she's like, all I can really do is give you the address to Vogg's house. And
When she
That
said that, I
works.
like to imagine everybody in that room's eyebrows went up like, huh, you don't say.
I can't stop you, and who knows? You could have found this out anyway.
Right?
I added
Could've
it to
just
my
gone door to
my
the door.
list.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Just want to
we,
make sure.
we did some good shit tonight. Like,
Yeah.
That was good.
it went
And-
surprisingly well.
Yeah.
And Ken forgot to lecture me about morals.
Ah, that is-
Win-win.
Oh, he still remembers. You're gonna still do that.
Just
Nope.
wait until you guys are
Nope, he
home.
forgot.
He's not going to do it while you're on vacation. He doesn't want to taint the vacation with having to be, dad.
It's that thing where you wait till we get home.
Yep. But it's all fun and games. You're on the vacation. You get home. You're still like smiling and happy because the vacation's like just over. And as soon as you walk
Yep.
through the door,
And
he's
then
like,
you get
"Okay,
your ass
time to
beat."
talk." And you're like, "What? What? What? No, but it was so good."
But
Why did you drag Nanashi with you?
because you looked bored, and
You're
I had
easy
planned for us to
picking.
go together, and then I thought about it, and I was like, that might actually bring a lot of attention to people working together on something like this. You're on your own. Okay, bye.
So good. Loved it. I love I was like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Okay, man, there was somebody in the crowd that was going to require a 20 to see, and there was more of a 20 for them to be there. Was like how I was waiting for the dice to come out.
Oh,
and-
no. Who was it?
I mean, you know who it was.
We'll never know.
I don't think nobody would know Vagram.
No, but Rose would have.
Oh,
But you would have
yeah.
seen like a very, very affluent looking noble moving through the streets and would have probably pointed
God,
out.
if
and
I-
would have been like,
If I had seen Vogue, this
"Mhm,
would have been a much different
Yep.
start.
But you didn't, and it wasn't even like you didn't because he was there, and I was like hee. It was more of like sometimes it's up to the dice whether or not stuff even happens.
He wasn't
and I
even
was
there,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, I was like on a 20 it's Vogue, but like anything else, let's see what they do. And it was just a bunch of like 2s and 3s, and I was like, all right, that's fair.
Yo, we rolled like shit.
2s and 3s that still were 12s and 18s, but
Yeah.
it was fine.
Could have been better.
Could have been.
But
I
hey,
love the,
I mean, we got through with like genuinely nothing really bad happening, which is a surprise for
Right?
us.
Very
For once.
surprising.
yeah. Well, I mean, at least with Baldur's Gate, like, it's you haven't done anything to outwardly like threaten it, and
Not yet.
yeah, like I said, it was the council meeting definitely came in neutral, and that's how it goes. Sometimes you guys could have rolled really bad and got arrested, like.
Yeah.
Oh no, that already
There's always
happened
an
in
option.
Zach's campaign.
Oh no.
We got in trouble with the city guard,
Oh, no.
and our
Okay.
troll, who is a warlock, used what's the spell? Ah, yes, Hellish Rebuke on an arrow shot and killed one of the guards.
Oh,
Yeah, that's really on them. That's not. they shot someone. Like that's just self-defense.
Right?
I can't control that. Sometimes I just don't fire.
And yeah, and well, thankfully, we actually met the alpha of a werewolf pack who goes by the name of, Chetney.
Oh no! I knew you were gonna say it before you even said it. I was like, no.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Aw.
I can actually do the voice.
He tried.
I can't. His Chetney's voice is so. I'd have to actually like listen to it and try to mimic it.
I even tried to like point out the tattoo, but Zach didn't catch on to it. Like, what's the tattoo mean? Respect the alpha.
Respect the alpha. RTA.
RTA.
Respect the alpha.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm curious to see like how outward you guys are going to be, how like gung ho you'll be with Vogue.
If we can just address and he's there, it's almost a done deal, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much on site. So
That's
Yep.
fair.
Pretty
That's
much.
what I have been planning for.
We'll probably
Rose.
try to keep a low profile in the city on the way to it, but like, I think all holes are barred now.
We
Yeah.
could poison him. I know how to make poisons.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Rose was trying to talk to the councilwoman, just be like, this is probably gonna happen.
She
please
she
don't arrest
100% was picking up what you were laying down. It was just like she was looking at things from a very like, I cannot condone murdering my citizens because where do they stop? How far do I trust them?
Right.
Like this one, sure, if they have good enough reason, maybe. But at the same time, I can't just tell them that.
And then we gave them the reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, pretty much said, like, as long as you're not breaking any laws in the city.
Yeah. And
so
like
if we kidnap him, take him out of the city, then kill him, then we can only be charged for kidnapping.
Exactly. I was gonna say kidnapping's still a crime, but yes, exactly. Still be charged.
But not as bad.
You got to be able to prove we kidnapped someone,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have to prove.
And
that
we
you
could
killed
just.
them.
We could just
they'll never
throw
find
him
the
in a
body.
bag of holding.
100%. They will not find the body. We have an abundant amount of means to hide a dead body.
Yeah, you do.
Some of the big ass human niggas just eat him.
Right? We could throw him into the bag of holding, like.
Let him suffocate and die.
So ready for that.
Right?
Dude, Vogue has been a villain for almost 2 years now.
Right?
Oh man,
He needs to be dealt with.
He does, and like I know how I'm gonna have that go down. It's gonna be so much fun. So much fun. So, I'm excited.
I think
hopefully next week you guys go and try to mess him up.
Because nobody's the only character who doesn't really have inward hate towards him.
Right. Nobody's just along for the ride, and you're like, all right, this name is a kill on sight. Okay, all right, got it.
Maybe he's the dude who blew you up.
You could have a very story pass with me. You just can't remember it.
Right?
We will find out.
Maybe next time on Tyranny.
We're gonna walk in, and he's not gonna look at any of us. He's gonna look right at nobody. Just you.
You're like, who? What the?
You
fuck?
son of a bitch!
How are you still alive?
Calls you by your true name. Kyle, is that you?
No, I'm nobody.
What are you doing here? How did you get here?
It's my job.
I thought I killed you.
I'm just an intern, and then you just shoot him in the face.
I mean, if he tries to run away, he probably won't get very far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We if nothing else, Edis will put him in a fucking cage.
If he tries to run before we even need to waste that, just hold creature him. I don't think he's gonna be able to beat as a regular dude. I don't think he's gonna be able to beat any of our spell safety schemes.
Right. Just hold.
Is he a regular dude?
I hope he's.
I mean, You last time you saw him, he was pretty much a regular
Seemed
dude.
like a regular dude.
Wait, how does that bottle work again? As long as they're on a different plane, you can trap them.
Oh, my flask? No, they have to be from a different plane.
Yeah, they have to
than
be
the
from a
material
different plane.
So if
Unfortunately.
oh, they have to be from a
Yeah,
damn. So
they have to
put
be
him on a
like
different plane, then do it. Would work.
technically. We'd have to bring him to a different plane of existence, though.
Yeah, because like we have multiple layers. I don't know what you guys got, but not whole creature. I have whole monster, which is the next step
Hmm.
up.
I don't. Would that work on a person?
Yeah, it's not. It's a creature,
Okay.
and people are creatures.
Doesn't
And worst
specify it
case
has to be like a
scenario,
monster.
we also have force cage, but
Right.
I don't think I have anything.
and really, there's no reason we can't use both if we just feel like it, because they're not both concentration.
Right.
I
Let's
mean,
see, what
I
do
could.
I have?
I have
anything?
paralyzing poison. We could paralyze him.
Okay, if I hold monster
I can make him
and he gets
slow.
paralyzed, and then you can give him the paralysis poison, so we don't have to concentrate.
I
And he just
have
stays
Right.
paralyzed.
I have psychic lance, which can incapacitate him.
Incapacitate. Yeah. I could also make him slow, I guess.
Yeah.
We have
Or-
the tools to make this man's life a nightmare. We just have not had an opportunity to do so
Right?
far.
Keeps getting away and fucking with us from the distance and being an asshole.
Yeah.
That's how nobles work.
Rose just had to get sold and hooked to the astral sea. We had the perfect opportunity to fuck his whole day up at court.
Oh, if only. If only. Missed opportunities. He was out. As soon as that shit went down, he was like, "No, I'm the fuck out of here.
Right.
The Wanderers are here. There are weird aliens here. I'm the fuck out."
The weird alien is here.
You, an
Only
asshole,
just-
barely escaped our notice. Us
Yep.
going to the astral sea.
What a butt.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna hop off, go stretch my legs, and get a drink. But that was good. That was fun.
Hell yeah.
And
Y'all
I'm
have a good night.
Can't believe
Take it
2020.
easy.
Y'all too.
Right?
Yes.
See you next week.
It was
Some of us
that
on
was
Monday or tomorrow.
it's Monday. Tomorrow's not Monday.
No, it's 12:10. It's technically Sunday.
Well,
so-
some of us
No.
are gonna hopefully run maps.
Oh, that's true. That's right. We were gonna run maps tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be on for maps. I got my shit all sorted, so I can actually just play. I got it all set up off a screenshot and then just beat up the dummy in my hand. Was like, this is how you fight.
I gotta mail one of you guys a map because I have.
I got
That
one
limit.
from Mert.
Do you
I
have
have-
one in each of your retainers? Okay. Kate doesn't. I'm gonna mail you one.
No.
Yeah, I don't have my gatherers up high enough level yet. I have been such a slacker this expansion.
That right
For
there,
shame.
dude.
For shame.
Well, I still don't have the current 24 man. I haven't done the MSQ. I did do enough to get the new dungeon unlocked, but that was it.
Yeah, I'm at. I don't know. I think I'm at like the last dungeon with MSQ.
You're gonna have to get it together because everybody peer pressured Fox into playing eventually, right?
Yeah, once we finish Strahd and we have a little bit more free time.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're showing him Undertale. It's fair enough that you at least install 14.
It's installed. I just haven't played
Then
it.
maybe make a character.
Undertale's like
Mm.
10 hours of gameplay. Final Fantasy 14 like 10 lifetimes of gameplay. Oh man.
Undertale's pretty cool though. Like the loops of doing the story, pretty fucking cool. How it just keeps compounding.
Yeah, we watched one of the YouTubers play through it, and he did the pacifist ending, and now we're watching him do a genocide run, and it's really cool. I liked the way that they did the gameplay with the storytelling. It was well balanced.
Mhm.
The
The whole
music
thing
was
was so
dope.
cool.
the music, dude. God, the music was so fire in that game.
Yeah. Have you checked out Hi-Fi Rush yet?
I
know
want
Ken was
to
talking about
like
it.
if it wasn't on a Game Pass game where it's just PC and Xbox, I would have bought it
Mm.
immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the rhythm games. There's a couple games like that. There's
Alright, well, I need to turn off my live stream, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed our diplomacy, political, shopping, whatever you want to call it. So tomorrow is kind of iffy in terms of if we're going to be running a session for Strixhaven, but that will be confirmed, tomorrow. But we are getting very, very close to the ending of Curse of Strahd, so we are hoping that, we can defeat Strahd. If not, then maybe take a break from the campaign and then start it up sometime in the future. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and catch you guys next time. Bye.